Betsy.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Cali Death Podcast back again, 2021. Here's episode 11. Had a nice big break for all the holidays and shit, and now we're back to get at it. We're coming hard at you with this first episode of 2021. We're bringing in, it's called a Cali Death Podcast, but we wanted to branch out. We got connections with other people around the world and stuff. And we've been talking to Lille for a little bit online, and Defeated Sanity is a perfect fit for this podcast, dude. And what better band to have as our first international guest? We've been a fan of you guys since 2005, 4 for me at least, and stuck with it the whole time, loving every album that came out and shit. So right now we got Lille, we got Josh, Jacob from the band Defeated Sanity, got the resident homies Casey, Joel, and Joseph. We're back again. We got a lot of things in store for you guys, and we're starting it off with this one right now.
So welcome, guys.
Welcome.
Thanks for having.
Yeah.
What time is it for you right now, Lille?
It should be 8. I'm like the screen is not showing the clock, but I guess it would be about 8 now.
Yeah, right on, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah, in the evening.
You're doing it at the time that we usually do it for ourselves over here.
Yeah.
So this is actually another cool little different one too. Our first daytime podcast.
Yeah.
A lot less drinking.
Got
Some iced tea.
Fizzy water.
Yeah.
Drinking's encouraged. Come on.
Yeah, but I got to go be a dad after this, dude. So it's like I'm gonna take my kids to the local park and fall asleep on the slide or something. If I were to drink right now.
Fun drink, I guess.
Your best life.
Yeah, totally, dude. And that'll show them how to live their best life. Watch their dad fall asleep at the fucking park.
Exactly.
Yes.
Right on, guys. Fuck yeah, dude. Well, this is sick, dude. I'm so happy that you guys are here. Joseph did a lot of digging and research and getting stuff together for this podcast. So I'd like to actually hand the reins to him.
Yeah.
He definitely deserves to be front runner on this one for all the stuff that he's done for the episode. So take it away, Joseph.
Thanks, dude. So yeah, I'm like one of the biggest Defeated Sanity fans out there. I remember getting turned on after Psalms came out, and I was a student, and I would mountain bike my campus a lot, and I just have this like vivid memory. I don't know if it's like this for you guys, but I associate memories for albums with particular places I was at the time that it made an impact. And so I just have this memory. My biggest Defeated memory is just mountain biking with Psalms on and just like chaos, just downhill crushing it, or even just being around campus and just feeling like there's a fucking like demonic war going on in my head through the music, and just looking around at people who are all like hippied out, chill people. And I just had this like secret world of doom and evil and terror, but all in a positive way. Just like, wow, I can hold this like fucking infinite world of chaos inside me and still. So I don't know. I just felt like a conduit for all this great energy you guys brought on that album. And it's really been hugely influential, and of course, following every album since and going back to the earlier stuff. So I felt way hard into it. So I wanted to like just start off by like asking you guys what you're up to right now before we go, because you guys have talked a lot on other episodes about how the band started and your guys' musical history. So we usually start with that, but maybe I'd like to start this one. Just what's going on with you guys' like day to day these days, and what are you up to now?
Who's starting?
Who asks?
So let's
Well,
yeah.
I can take it away.
Go ahead, Jacob.
Well, it's obviously a little bit different. Everything is a little bit different this year. We would be on tour. Would probably be on tour right now. Actually, there was nothing planned for this time, but in fact, there was something planned for next month for February. But last year, everything turned out a little differently, or a lot of differently, I guess. So really, kind of doing whatever else, hunkering down, waiting for the light to come back, and working on some music, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, pretty much probably sounds very familiar to everybody else, I would say.
Yeah.
What were you
Definitely.
up to? You moved to LA and you were doing live sound out here?
Yeah, I was. I was up until the pandemic, pretty much. I was doing live sound before in Germany as well, so it's not a career change, just a location change.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I moved here in 2017, beginning of 2017.
Is there specific venues that you're working for, or is it just
Independent. I'm just a
Independent?
contractor. Yeah.
gotcha? Very
Mhm.
cool.
They're working everything from like festivals, corporate events, special.
Is there any plans in because I know Europe's a little different than America as far as they're already planning festivals and stuff like that. Do you guys have any plans for this coming year that's like a loosely based festival plan?
We are trying to hold off pretty much until there's more clarity. But
Yeah.
I see it still. The summer, I'm not sure if I see that happening yet.
Yeah.
Later in the year, maybe. But that's my personal point of view. I'm not sure.
Definitely.
I guess we're kind of waiting for, because we lost so much money on the failed tours of last year, having the US visas, going through all the hassle, paying a lot of money down, and then not getting anything in return. So now we're a little bit more hesitant, just waiting, kind of how other endeavors might play out. So if we see, okay, touring is picking up and this actually has a real chance of happening, I think then that's when we're gonna.
Yeah, because you and Josh are gonna have to pay for tickets, right? You have to plan all the
There's
travel and all that
always-
stuff.
Yeah. To bring Defeated Sanity together into one place is always, you're already down a couple of grand at least.
Yeah.
With visas and all the other expenses, and that's why we're a little bit just kind of waiting it out.
Very cool.
What was your biggest memory of moving to the States and how different it was from Germany?
Oh wow. Well, that's a long process because I've been to the States a lot, of course, before I even ever thought about moving here. So my cultural shock moment was already years before I moved, that I understood, oh, this is how things run here, or wow, this is, at first things are different. You don't understand, and you may think like, no, this is wrong, and then, why are they doing it all wrong? And then after some time, especially when living here, and I said, okay, well, there's just different ways of how things could work, and it broadens your horizon to, okay, this is done this way here, and this is done that way there. But there was definitely a little bit of that shock the first few times over here, way before I moved. And then when I moved, things were already like, I guess I was kind of accustomed to a lot of things already.
Human adaptation, dude. Everybody, you get enough exposure to it, you'll eventually be able to adapt to it if you want to, right?
Pretty much, yeah. And I mean, I was super stoked when I moved here, and I have very vivid memories of being on my final flight after going back and forth so many times, and having literally nothing but a pack of like 2 suitcases on me. I sold everything else, and just being on that flight and looking out the window, approaching. I was actually flying into San Francisco. I was gonna say LA, but it was San Francisco, and just seeing the Pacific coast, be like, all right, this is my home now. That was very memorable.
Yeah, that's fucking cool shit, dude.
Yeah,
We're glad to claim you here as a musician, and yeah, so
Property of California.
yeah.
California.
What about you, Josh? Are you still keeping up with your sound engineering and production?
Yeah, so it's been, since all this happened, it's been very sporadic. And me coming from a place whereas, when COVID really first hit and really took its toll, we were on tour. So me and Jacob can relate to this. We had already kind of blocked our schedules out for a month and a half because we were going to be on the road. And then basically we came home and had nothing. We had nothing on the table, So, and yeah, understandably, musicians these days don't really have much in the way of a budget. So, there's not as many people seeking out third party mixing and mastering, which is primarily what I do these days. So it's been a little rough, but it's starting to pick back up. I'm starting to get more inquiries, so I'm just hoping for the best moving forward,
For sure.
Yeah.
And Lily, you've been keeping busy with a new online lesson platform and other content. Do you want to talk about that while I pull up the page?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I mean, it's not been a big, too big of a loss for me, because I keep like the schools I normally go to. I basically just teach those students online. But yeah, what you see right there is my Patreon page, and I started to basically talk about my thought process of like constructing the songs, like on the guitar, because I play guitar as well, and also talking about all kinds of blast beats and fills and all that stuff. So yeah, I've kind of started. I thought I should try that stuff, and anybody who's interested is definitely welcome to join. Yeah, and it's it's been fun, you know.
That's awesome.
But
Yeah, it's super cool.
yeah, it's
hippie Balkan stuff.
basically they're like not so much like lessons for beginners or something, but they're actually going like they're for people that are really interested in how the Defeated Sanity music works, you know. So that's why I called it calculated barbarity, because it's
That's
clearly
exactly what Defeated Sanity is.
Exactly.
Yes, yeah, that's what it's about.
Fuck
Pimp
yeah.
My True Filth Blast. Oh, dude, I really need to pay just for that one. Yeah. Yeah, so
Maybe we'll scrape together for you, dude.
should we all pitch in on a band account to yeah. No, but seriously, I'm really planning on I'm just trying to figure out which tier, because I do guitar and drums also, so I'm like trying to figure out if I should chill out for both, but I'm gonna be on there. It looks really exciting, so
awesome.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so yeah, that's one thing I've started. My friend Paul McGuire, he turned me on to that. Like, he basically forced me to do it. Like, you have to change something. You have to do something with your talents, blah blah. Because mostly I teach like kids, you know, like I don't know. It's a lot of twinkle twinkle little star for me, you know. That's my.
Do you see, is there any children while you're doing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star that you're like, you know, that kid's got it on point, dude. He's got Twinkle Twinkle Little Star within a half a beat all the way through, dude.
Of course, it starts like that, you know. It's you gotta. I mean, they gotta read sheet music, and like everybody can, like, if you see how that is, it's like, you know, on guitar you have to do two things at the same time. You have to fret the right thing, then at the same time you gotta hit the right string, and then at the same time your eyes are like with the sheet, you know. So it's like three things at the same time. So everybody who nails Twinkle Twinkle Little Star at like age 6 or 7 has got my respect.
Awesome.
And I'm like, I get into it. I'm like, it's awesome, you know.
Planting a seed, yeah. It's like you're watching a little seedling sprout, you know.
Yeah, and some of them turn into. I had it happen that like some people turn into metalheads, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Have you had students from the past who have now like grown up and become like musicians themselves, like either amateur or professional?
Yeah, like I mean, I had a lot of students where they came to me when they were already like metal people, and yeah, I don't know. I like to think I helped them a fair bit, you know. Like some people from Berlin, some people internationally, but yeah, I can remember one time I had this kid, like he started playing with me when he was like 8 years old, and we started with Green Day and Nirvana or I don't know, Rammstein, whatever. And then at the end, like I remember playing Malevolent Creation, Living in Fear with him. That's a crazy fast blast song, and Monstrosities, Shapeless Domination. So I would play guitar and they would play drums, so they would get into the jamming thing. Then and then later we flat out, I was like, hey, I've got this Defeated thing in 7/8. You got to figure it out. How do you play to this? And so I basically got help from my students to construct grooves. So I do that with my advanced students. So it's like almost like I get a little something out of these lessons too. Like,
can I ask you a question? Did you go straight from Nirvana to Defeated, or did you go over Slayer and Megadeth? And
actually, funny that I remember with this guy, he's called Till. I remember Jacob.
I know Till, yeah.
Yeah, Till is he's great. I think that's another Cali thing. We started because then he wanted to play faster, after we played Green Day or whatever. Then we played a strung out piece. What is it called? Gearbox. So it's like almost Slayer tempo. So we started playing some like California kind of punk rock stuff, and then it went into
just straight to Defeated after that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No in between. Just fucking.
That's rad. Well, Casey and Lily, you guys are both music educators, music teachers, but also both kind of like guitar and drum masterminds of your associated bands. So like Casey's the drummer of Odious Mortem, but behind the scenes has been writing a lot of the guitar parts the whole way. And so has Lily for Defeated, right? You've composed most of just the guitar as well as your drum parts. So you guys are both like huge inspirations to me for just having that entire musical vocabulary available to you and being able to compose. And I think that's like maybe a little more unique about death metal, is that I know with other genres like jazz, like everyone should know and does know how to play piano a bit. So piano is kind of like the main instrument. But in metal, it seems like, and I know with Defeated, like Josh, you play guitar too. So it seems like you guys aren't just like, you guys are more utility players and composers and able to write on every instrument. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that as a huge influence on me, that you're all able to construct an entire and be a composer. Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to see something inspiring, there's a video of Chick Corea fucking swinging the hell out of a drum kit. I don't know if you guys have seen that.
I never seen Chick Corea on a drum kit.
Yeah, that's why I was like, whoa, dude.
I've seen Stevie Wonder, but not Chick. Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I was young and dumb when I saw it and was like, wow. But I think it was pretty fucking amazing what he's like. I thought I could not do that. I couldn't swing like that. Yeah. So
there was a quick incarnation of Odious with Lee Smith from A Stratosphere on drums and Casey on guitar, and we had a few jams like that were pretty interesting. And Casey definitely fucking just was like, oh yeah, dude, now I'm the guitar player. Yeah, it's chill.
Yeah.
Literally, Odious could just be Casey if it wanted it to be.
Yeah, you heard him gurgle on the first album. He can gurgle.
Yeah, you gotta gurgle.
Why I better not teach Lila how to play the bass, or else.
Yeah. I was gonna say real quick, when you're talking about like the students and stuff, like I was working at a place when I moved back down here from the Bay, like in 2015. And I worked at this school like for a couple years, and it's kind of like a School of Rock type thing, but it wasn't School of Rock. But there was a kid there that was a really good drummer, dude. This kid Kian, and he was just like this, teenager kid who just looked like a normal kid, and like they're playing like all kinds of punk and stuff in their band. So I didn't know that he was like into metal or anything like that. And then I stopped working there and then started my own place like after 2 years. And then he like hit me up and he's like, dude, I'm playing in this death metal band now, and I'm like playing shows at Brick by Brick and all this. And he's like, I didn't even know that you played in Decrepit. He like found out later, because I, short hair at the time, and he didn't know who I was, and he didn't care. But he was just like, now he's totally in, like, I follow him on Instagram. He's just long hair with Nile shirts on and all this. It's so funny, So that's yeah, dude. And they play all the time. I forgot the name of his band. I was trying to find it, but that's so cool to see, dude. Like he's just totally into it now.
That is cool.
Yeah, it's rewarding. Yeah.
So Joseph, I don't know where you wanted to go with it from here, but I mean, I know that you guys, Lily just did an interview recently and kind of like laid out the story, but I think that there should be some kind of abridged version for the people who are going to listen to this that haven't heard that interview. Yeah. And just for myself too, because I'm super interested in your relationship with your father and how that started and what your father was doing before you were even born and all that stuff. It's just so fascinating to me. I'd love to hear just like somewhat abridged version of how that all happened, like where did your dad start and just get us through it kind of quick. I know we got a lot of people. I mean, I'm not trying to hurry you up with that. I'm just saying like
bathroom break for everybody else.
But yeah, dude, I love that story and I just want to hear like a little bit about it,
Okay. So, it's basically, we were living in like a village, like, even like the closest town was like totally like, I think maybe you'd find like 50 people that know what Slayer is or something. It seemed to me like that. So like I started playing drums and guitars from my 6th year on, just like being inspired by seeing like all my dad's friends and my dad, and they were all musicians, and so yeah, they were in this thing like it's like they call it crowd rock kind of. I guess that would be the sound, like progressive jazz fusion kind of thing, and yeah, they were all like, all the friends of my dad were basically like musicians in that scene kind of. So I got a lot of influence from that. So yeah, so when I started picking up the instrument, it was of course because of Metallica, Megadeth, Iron Maiden, Testament, Overkill, and all that. And yeah, I had no one to play with, but yeah, my dad mastered all these instruments as well, so we would just jam. And
so was he interested in that music as well, or did you bring it to him and be like, hey, let's try and get into this stuff?
No, he was everything was 100% sincere, like
no, I mean, I'm saying like when you came to him with like the Megadeth and the Metallica, he already was jamming that too?
No, he didn't know that before.
Okay.
He was into Mahavishnu Orchestra.
Yeah.
Chick Corea, Free, Cream, Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath, maybe. They didn't like 80s metal at all, like glam, that kind of like, so that turned him off a lot. But then with Metallica and Megadeth, he was, this is good stuff,
Mm-hmm.
And then with death metal, he thought it was even better, because it's just like the absence of the pop thing there, just the abstruse nature and like the artistic nature of like Tomb of the Mutilated or something. It really took him in, and he became a hardcore fan. He really knew how to write that, and
so fucking cool, dude.
Love that. Yeah. So yeah.
So then he slowly was like, so you basically were like, I want to play this, and your dad was like, okay, we'll start playing in this style. Is that kind of how it started? Or you guys just got together at that point and decided to start something?
Dude, I've been jamming the tapes recently, because I got a little tape deck from a friend who doesn't need it anymore. And I started jamming the tapes from like 92 to I don't know when, like, and I think we recorded on a Tascam 6-track on cassette tape. We recorded, I want to say, up to 300 songs. And so I would play some of his songs and he would play some of my songs. And it was like everything. There was like, yeah.
That 4-track, by the way, was still around and very actively used when I joined the band. Just
Nice.
2005.
Hey,
It's a legendary 4-track.
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want it back. I don't know. I just like recording like that. Yeah, but anyways, there was like stuff like Anathema, My Dying Bride, or like that kind of style. We tried everything. I tried like black metal. Then I had like a kind of hardcore project one time, and then it turned more and more death metal basically because I just mentioned it, Tomb of the Mutilated. You know, that was just, to me, that's the most artistic, like just the vibe on that album. It's just so there's just no fucking around, you know. It's just no signs of cheesiness or anything. It's just crazy and abstruse kind of, you know. So
I was gonna ask you real quick, this is my last question before I'll give it back to Joseph. Coming home from school, would it be jamming right after school, or would it be homework first?
You got it, jamming first. The reason is there were people living under us and they were cool enough to, you know, have me play drums, and they probably heard every bit of that. So I had a window of 2 hours after school, so it was literally put away your stuff, go play drums for 2 hours.
So fucking cool, dude.
That's awesome, man.
I'd be excited as fuck to get home from work, dude. I mean, school. You know, like, I don't give a shit, dude. I'm gonna go jam with my dad. We're gonna fucking get brutal. You know?
Yeah, basically.
Hell yeah, dude. So Jacob, what were you doing? Or you know what? Why I'm taking over again?
No, it's all good, dude.
Sorry. I was just gonna say, like, so
fucking singers.
Did you have any bands before Defeated?
Yes, I did. I mean, you wouldn't know them, I would suppose.
I still want to hear about it though.
Considered local bands. So I was like 17 when I met Lille, and he actually, I think he came out to one of my to a show of one of my bands. I think that's what happened.
And he wore a Decrepit Birth T-shirt, and I was like, "Oh, that's my guy."
There you go. So it was basically like a local band. We had a decent following. We were called Chaosphere back then, and then later on rebranded ourselves into Cerebric Turmoil, and didn't last very long. Anyway, we had a decent following and locally in Berlin, and was kind of technical death metal, a little bit core-ish influence here and there, I'm not gonna lie. But you know, it was very much like we were very much influenced by Cali Death, like Decrepit Birth, but also Necrophages at the time, and Brutal Death, of course. Cephalic Carnage, like the weird kind of stuff. Psyopus, we liked a lot. So that kind of shit. And Lille came out to a show, and started the conversation about me potentially joining the band. And I was still in school back then, so I was like, I don't know if I can like do touring or anything. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna be a recording member first. I can't do live yet, and that's what happened. So I was recording promo that year, and then didn't join for live shows until after I was done with school, like a year and a half later.
And Psalms was the first album that you recorded with them? That
was the first full length, yeah.
Cryptic and Psalms came out the same year. I remember that being, and actually the newest one in Synesthesia same year. So it's like Defeated and Odious kind of get, I see that in the same conversations, because you guys released a lot more in our big window of doing nothing, but at least we got Cryptic and Synesthesia together. So
yeah.
So when did you start actually becoming a live member, Jacob?
I think it was about a year later in 2006. if I remember correctly, and Lille may correct me if I'm wrong here, I think my first show was supporting Black Dahlia Murder in Berlin in the Lido, not Lido, Kato. Was that?
Yeah, that might be right. Yeah.
I think it was my first show because I have a memory that we somehow had a few minutes left on the clock, and sound engineer was like, "All right, you got time for one more." But we played all the songs that I knew, so I actually had to leave stage so that they can play one more song without me. That's who I was.
That's how it was.
Yeah, and that was my first show. So that was like March 2006 or something. And then we had a few bigger ones that year, like Obscene Extreme was my first real big show with Defeated. Almost hands there.
You could have pulled a move like I pulled at one of these outdoor festivals in Germany where getting chanted, go one more song. We had a Suffocation cover, but I already unplugged my bass.
Yeah.
I didn't know that I totally forgot I was unplugged, and Dying Fetus is in the back, like, you got to go out and do one more. And we're like, oh, well, Dying Fetus is telling us to do it, so we're going to go do it. And I went out there and I was just like playing, like, I can't hear myself at all. And I look back and I just see my fucking cables hanging from my amp. And I'm like, I'm just going to keep playing.
Yeah.
I don't want to like run back. So I just,
at that point, you just got to mime it.
Yeah, exactly. And I had like Kronos was all sitting there watching me like right in the front too. And I'm like, one of my favorite bands. I'm like, fuck, dude.
Was that the show that I played? Like, was it 2008? I think I met you that day, Lily. I think.
Yeah, that's when we met. Very briefly.
Together,
I remember that. We like walked up to you. We were like on the field or something.
What show was that? That was, I forget what that was called. Death Feast. Death Feast. Yeah.
Death Feast. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah,
that's right. With like Gorod, Kronos, Cryptopsy. Yeah, that was a great show. But anyways, you got to fake it till you make it. You know what I mean? I know that Jacoby's had the same thing too with he got really drunk and forgot to plug in. Just fucking started playing. I remember Eric telling me about that. But it happens, man. You should have just done that for the last song, just like mimed it. It's like fucking
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I should have done that. I don't know. I think it was Butchered Identity. That was the last song that I didn't know yet then, because that was the last song I learned off of Psalms before we hit the studio. And I remember I was actually down in the crowd, like rocking out to Butchered.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah.
I want to try to look into the connection with you guys a little more, because I know I'm looking for it now. There's a picture, a Decrepit Birth band photo where Casey's wearing a Defeated Sanity shirt, and we were trying to think. It's Lily. You sent a Defeated Sanity shirt out to Casey at some point.
We freaked the fuck out on Prelude, dude.
Yeah,
Prelude,
we were so down.
We freaked the fuck out on that album. We
listened to it a lot.
Yeah, David, Casey, we would. I mean, that would be like the soundtrack driving to practice.
Yeah,
I'd be in David's car and we would listen to fucking Prelude, and we would just be like, dude, try and listen to this riff. And I'm trying to follow it, and I just fucking can't, I'm like, it's discombobulating. That's what it was. It would like confuse us. And then we would go play our music and be like, this isn't as confusing, even though it's like technical as fuck, but it's like, this isn't there's confusion in Odious too, but I'm just saying like what that, like the riffs on Prelude did to me I was just like, I was being introduced to a new style. I felt like when I was listening to that album, it was taking the crazy fusion aspects of jazz and incorporating it into brutal death metal. And I'm just like, what the fuck is I know that like Cynic was incorporating progressive and jazz and stuff like that, but like taking it and injecting it into brutal death metal was something that I had never heard.
And we were already into that kind of music, like Mahavishnu Orchestra and all that, all that kind of prog stuff for years. And so when we heard you guys, we were just like, oh, these guys know what's up. Like,
I'd never heard like brutal death metal and those aspects of like Mahavishnu and other bands like being fused together. It was like super like Cynic was like, but I mean, taking brutal death metal and putting that in the mix is just what was throwing me off so hard, but in a good way.
Yeah, I know. See, but I think I guess that's where California comes in a little bit, because I think, or I guess for me, Suffocation, when you hear these long like these fucking endless riffs with notes.
Yeah.
And I think I'm thinking like about like classical, and I think about jazz. So I know it started developing at that point, I think. And then for me, Deeds of Flesh was just like they took it to another level with the Frankenstein kind of riffs that never end, and then they loop. Like Deeds of Flesh is always looping like really long intervals of bits and pieces, you know. So I think a lot came from that, and obviously, yeah, like a little later I got to know Disgorge, and to me they just stepped it up, became hugely influential. Yeah, for me, those two bands are like, to me, the epitome why there's exists something like a California death metal, I guess. And
Definitely.
We agree, dude. We definitely agree.
Yeah.
Those are our fucking godfathers.
yeah, you can hear it.
You guys all maybe like say a little bit about I especially like framing it with Deeds of Flesh and Disgorge being the two pillars, because they both are part of this California death metal sound, but they are very different. And Disgorge is more free and you know, less clicky and a lot more kind of almost grindy. Deeds of Flesh is like almost as on the grid, not in a, you know, computer sense, but like in a musical sense as you can get in death metal, and everything is laid out almost perfectly. Mike Hamilton, obviously.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering how you were able to like pick from both of those quite different styles, you know, drums and riffs and everything. And how did you decide to bring those different aspects together?
It's, I don't know. It's just like, it's not even just these two bands. It's just, there's just so much more stuff going on. Like, for example, I would say Early Immolation is like the opposite of what you said with Deeds of Flesh with On the Grid.
But so
like they
fucking
would,
good.
right? Because they would change the tempo in a way where you basically you can't even put that into Guitar Pro.
Yeah.
So I guess we took all these aspects.
I was going to say Disgorge also made an evolution a little bit. If you think Cranial Impalement, that was like just like a brutal jam session, basically.
Yeah.
It's an
Sounds so jazzy.
Yeah. So that there's also a range there.
That's true.
Yeah.
And also comparing those bands in terms of like production, like if you listen to is it Trading Pieces? Is that the no, Gradually Melted, the first demo of Deeds. And it's like very clear. And then you listen to the 95 demo and it's as like dirty as a listenable product can be. It's funny that they came out the same year and had that different sound starting out.
Oh, you're talking about the 95 Disgorge demo?
Yeah, the Cranial Impalement.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that kind of just fits the characteristics of what you were just saying, you know, like more free and open and like raw-ish, and then Deeds is more calculated and executed in clarity style.
Yeah.
But that Gradually Melted shit, it's got that dirty aspect of it too. And fuck, that Gradually
Melted. That's from
Melted,
the playing, yeah. And the riffs and everything, yeah.
I love that.
It's a little bit thinner.
That style is something that I think is like lost with the increasing of tempo throughout the years and how like the punishing aspects of a slower bomb blast. To me, like a slow bomb blast actually hits me harder than a faster bomb blast, because you're actually feeling the feet with it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It becomes less vibration and more actual percussive like punches.
Yeah, you know, there's a certain speed at which everything becomes one note, and that's when brutality inverses, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that, dude. I think that's what the same. Yeah, it's like the same wavelength that we're talking about. There's a threshold that you pass to where you lose something,
Yeah,
But you're doing
it's not-
something else in a way too.
exactly. I was just gonna say that. It's still a cool. It's still impressive to say the least, and awesome if used in the right way. But in terms of brutality, what you're saying, I think that the word brutality to me is somehow connected to like something slow and just unmerciful, but like just fucking like a steamroller, like a tank, you know. That like fits the word brutality the most.
Totally.
Yeah.
How about in terms of like vocal influence, Josh? Were you like most stoked on like the Disgorge, like ultra guttural early style, or how did you like grow up listening to these bands and pulling them together?
So it's funny. I mean, so when it comes to vocals, I mean, one of the first bands that I heard that really introduced me to like really guttural vocals was Circle of Dead Children.
Oh,
Really
wow.
random, like kind of like introduction into the underground, but
Human Harvest, dude. Human Harvest was the shit.
yeah, that album absolutely. And somebody, I can't remember who had mentioned like an album like bringing them to a place. I think it was you, Joseph. Like a certain album, you remember like kind of like where you were when you heard it for the first time, and you like always associate it with a place. I remember I saw that album at like a Newbury Comics at the mall in Providence, Rhode Island, where I grew up, and I just saw that album and I was like, ooh, I can't read that logo. I'm gonna buy this album. And I put it in my little CD player in the cafeteria. And I remember just being like sitting in the little cafeteria of the mall, and that first A Family Tree to Hang From comes on, and I was just like, oh my God, like gripping the sides of the table, like what is happening right now?
Yeah, dude.
But vocally, that was like, I didn't even, I mean, I had obviously like Cannibal Corpse and all that came first, of course, like Tomb of the Mutilated, and that was kind of what had brought me into that kind of realm vocally. But this was just something like totally different, and then I started diving into Disgorge and stuff like that.
Is this teenage years, adolescence, or a little bit
I mean,
later?
it's like preteen years. I was probably like 12 or 13. I was in early middle school.
Yeah.
Coming out of elementary school, listening to this stuff.
Man.
But yeah, I mean, vocally, yeah, I kind of like first was like really influenced by like the really gurgly, like deep, like guttural stuff. But as time moved on, I started to more so, and I've shaped my style along this route of like more aggressive, but still like very deep and incorporating a lot of guttural stuff. Just because to me, like, it's much more exciting for me to like go through a show and actually be like pushing myself and like, I don't know, to me, like just sitting for a whole show and just going like, it's not as energetic as like really forceful vocals, you know what I mean? So I like to incorporate like a bunch of different styles into what I do, just to enhance the delivery, if that makes sense.
Totally makes sense, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a one-trick pony.
Yeah, I mean, it comes to a point where, I mean, you know, even on the Sanguinary Impetus, like I had seen a couple of reviews where people were like, oh, the vocals are very monotone, and I'm like, I don't see it that way at all. I thought that for what the vocals are, there's actually quite a bit of variety, even though it's just sticks in the lower register, you know what I mean? But
there's always going to be
everybody's
those
gonna hear
dudes saying that. There's always going to be those guys.
Exactly,
there too,
and not everybody is going to hear. To me, it might be subtleties to some people, but to me, there's actually a lot of different vocal techniques and stuff employed throughout the album, even though it might stay in the lower register of the voice, you know. Yeah,
Totally,
I mean,
dude. No, I agree. I agree. It's hard to be a vocalist on top of all these crazy musicians, right? And then you
yeah,
try and
totally.
have
Yeah,
your own little signature, and then you're happy with it, and then some fucking shitty kid from Toledo, Ohio, tells you you're fucking a piece of shit.
I mean, at that point, I guess I'm a piece of shit. I don't
Yeah, I think you really hit a sweet spot at, like, have all the older style vocal styles from Defeated Sanity or like appear in your own style on the new album. You can hear that more aggressive AJ style and some of the earlier stuff too. And the
Yeah, it's kind of what I was going for, and kind of going for like the semi intelligibility of lyrics. You know, I wanted to actually, if you're looking at lyrics, I want you to actually like know there's friggin' lyrics. You know, and I think they accomplished that pretty well on this album.
Hell yeah, dude. And
Anthony's
sorry,
thinking
anybody
of
from
that, yeah.
Toledo. I just realized I called out a whole state. I mean, a whole city.
Fuck
Toledo's
dude.
cool.
We've
Yeah,
actually
fuck
played
Toledo.
there, and we have fans
I'm
there.
kidding.
So you guys are sick, dude.
Yeah.
Where's
I don't
Toledo?
like that place.
Ohio.
Okay.
Never been there. But so can I ask you know, Lille, were you like listening to like Consume the Forsaken and Parallels and like Mark of the Legion and this stuff like as it was being released, and you were like getting the CDs and stuff as they were coming out?
Yeah, man. I want to say maybe the craziest concert moment I maybe ever had was hearing the song Divine Suffering for the first time live. I didn't know shit before. They just played that song live, and then that last riff, it was like, yeah. It was like, you know, it's like I can't describe that feeling. It was that was 2002 at Fuck the Commerce
Okay.
festival in Germany, and I don't know, man. I think I was a little late on all that stuff. It was for a short time I was a little stuck in that. Yeah, real death metal is monstrosity and malevolent creation and people that like with spikes and leather and stuff. And then I always saw the pictures of like the more, you know, like new school looking guys, and I was like, that's probably not good. Like I was like a hardcore fan and stuff, like where people already look like rappers and stuff. So I liked that, but I was like in metal, no, that can't be. And it was, but then, and I just knew a few bands, and I thought they were a little goofy with the slam stuff. You know, that was my first like me first checking it out. Huh?
I said I know which band, but go on.
Yeah. But anyways, so then at one point I was like, I saw the Discord Chile Got It shirt, and I'm like, whoa, but that's pretty badass, man. Like, that's pretty crazy. They gotta be good. I gotta check it out. And it was like in the beginning of the internet days, my stepfather had like internet and stuff. So I made like a day where I downloaded all that stuff I've heard about. And the first thing I checked out was Chile Got It. Just the song, Chile Got It. Then Regurgitation, some song from Tales of Necrophilia. Devourment, Choking on Bile, and I think Deprecated actually, Realization of Betrayal. And then I was like, oh my God, I need to catch up on that stuff, because that's actually the continuation of Gorguts and Suffocation and Monstrosity, Immolation, Incantation, Cannibal Corpse. You know, that was my stuff. And I think I got in a little late, but then basically I gotta say the main driving factor why I got into it was the song Chile Got It. It blew me the fuck away, like right away. I was like, oh my God, so that's how that sounds like? I thought it was all gonna be like stupid, drum, 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 drum. Like I didn't get it back then, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
So,
a
yeah.
technical fucking song. I play that with Diego whenever we jam, and that one is one where I like don't always get through it. I'm always a little confused on where it goes.
Is that the 10, 11, 10, 14, 10,
no,
11, 10?
It's not that song, but
Oh.
that song is from Parallels. That song, the 10, 11, 10 song.
I'm gonna make sure I say that like every episode.
Oh, by the way, speaking of, you know, what you asked, if Lille experienced those releases coming out as they were coming out.
Yeah.
Because I mentioned that show earlier. We played my first show with Defeated Sanity in Berlin. That day, I have a memory of us, like, I don't know how we got a hold of it, because nobody had smartphones back then, but somehow Discord released the Enthroned Abominations like preview single from Parallels, either that day or like the day before or something. We like checked it out in the venue for the first time. We're like fucking blown away. I remember that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man. And then you hear all that really influenced Psalms of the Moribund, and that like disgorged style is really coming out on that. But you guys did it like even more over the top than anything that they had done. And one of the things I love about Psalms is that this is just kind of a more generic kind of note, but like in a lot of death metal bands today, you can tell that it's one guitarist tracking both parts, and it's quantized and click. In Psalms and everything you guys have done, but especially there, you can really hear the difference in the guitar playing between the two tracks.
Mhm.
And I wanted to ask, actually, it's Wolfgang and Christian both on that album. Which do you know which side is which guitarist?
So there's this one that's a little bit more fizzy, but like kind of cleaner sounding.
Mm-hmm.
That's Christian and his cheap Ibanez, like purple Ibanez.
And
So
do you remember what ear that comes through? Like if you're listening to the mix, do you remember what ear your dad is versus Christian?
right now I can't. Jacob, you know that?
I couldn't tell which side it is really, but I know that if you Wolfgang has a little bit of a sludgy kind of sound, like more palm muted even, and like I don't know, a little darker sounding. And
yeah.
But there are specific moments where Wolfgang is playing, for example, in Fatal, second track on the album. There's a little right before that slam. That's Wolfgang playing that.
Was it?
That is Wolfgang. Christian started playing it after Wolfgang left, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure right now either.
I think that's just one example. There's other ones. For example, in Artifacts, that's Wolfgang's song. He might have. No, that was still Christian on the other guitar. Never mind. On Fatal, I'm like 90% confident right now that fill, for example, that would be Wolfgang. Then you know where it is.
Okay.
I think the first break in Prelude to the Tragedy.
Oh yeah, that's also him.
That's him. So if you can track that down, that's the. It sounds a little bit more full, but also a little bit more dirty, basically. So,
yeah, it's really rare that you hear albums like that anymore, where you can hear the character or the style of the individual guitar players. Another one that I do hear that though is when the deprecated re-recording of Deriding came out, and it's Terrence Hobbs and Matt Sotelo. I can actually hear, oh, that's Terrence and that's Matt, because they're pretty characteristics, different styles. And the production is much more clear, and so the guitar differences come out more. But this all goes back. I mean, I remember someone pointing this out, like Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction, how Slash would slide into the riff a little after Izzy or something, and that's when I first started to pay attention to that idea that you should have actual differences in the guitars.
Bands don't do that on purpose. They will just have one guy record everything for the tightness and just omit the little bit of character,
dynamics. Yeah.
I guess especially back then. I mean, now I'm getting it a little bit more. Like I also love sloppy bands.
Yeah.
So like, for example, Devourment, molesting bound and gagged, sick fuck.
Yes. There's a certain style of bands
every day, bound and gagged.
You just there's certain bands that I definitely accept it and embrace the slop. That's one thing that as a younger death metal fan, musician guy, when I was in the early 20s, it's like no popcorn, no this, no that. It's just like, no, actually, dude, I love the human sounding shit. I love the shit from the early 90s where nobody could fucking edit anything.
Yeah.
And just got the best fucking take they could possibly get, dude.
Well, so Phallic Carnage really has a lot of that too. They'll go from like super crazy, you don't know what the fuck's going on, to like they'll catch you back on.
And you notice you notice the difference when they changed drummers too with Cephalic.
Definitely.
After their original drummer left, it became a more uniform, like organized project, but it's everything before that I love the most about Cephalic Carnage, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
It's
But I
strange.
think-
I think we're all experiencing that when we're young. Maybe it's just a human natural thing. When you're young, you're always striving to be like pushing the boundary, and you don't accept to have inaccuracies or whatever, and you just kind of have that tunnel vision on getting it perfect, being better or whatever. And then you get older and you're like, no, actually I like that you can tell apart this guitarist from that guitarist or this drummer from that drummer, So give me those little inaccuracies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no, as you get older, you kind of like I brought this up on previous podcasts where, you watch a band live and watching how they fuck up and recover is like something I love now. It's like one of my favorite things.
It
Like,
makes you love them
watching
better.
I know,
They
like
make
how
a
like
sick recovery. You're like, oh, dude, yep, they're the.
it's like how they break a string and how they come back from it, or how they.
Oh,
drop
dude,
a
Eric
stick and-
Rutan, quickest
Rutan,
string
yeah.
fucking switcher
Yeah.
I've ever seen, dude.
I know he's done it a couple times.
He switched his string and tuned up before the end of the song. He came
Yeah.
back in during the same.
Yeah.
That's a
And that
pro.
gets like a crowd. I've seen a couple times with him where it gets like the crowd to go like, yeah, just because he changed the string right. And it's like it brings like a new element of like, fuck yeah, especially when you're performing all the time and all the shit that can go wrong. And you see people how they recover from it. You see the people that flail and they're like, he's fucking up, like but people confidently handle it and recover as hitting the stage a bunch. That's like mad
Extra
respect to those
points,
people.
extra points.
Yeah.
Well, that
Jesus.
also feeds into the fact that it reminds the fans that these are human beings on stage.
Exactly.
They're not machines.
Exactly.
Even
Yep.
if like an album today might sound like an absolute piece of perfection as far as technicality goes, they're human beings on that stage, and things happen. So
It's like, yeah, we toured with what's it called, with Animals as Leaders, and they were like when one of their first tours, and they were opening for us at the time, and they literally they would fucking train wreck, like animal, like we got Tosin on guitar and you got Naveen on drums, and they would train wreck and just be like, I'm like, all right, thank God they train wreck, that makes me feel so much better. Like, I need train wreck, like they're so good,
Well,
Yeah,
not to go too far into that, but the train wreck is always blamed on the human. It's not necessarily blamed on the human. You could have a really shitty sound guy that night to where nobody can hear anybody.
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Your monitor is just somehow shutting off or whatever, technical bullshit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In a crucial moment, that can throw you off too.
Yep, exactly. Fuck yeah.
So
Back on track.
go for it, Joseph.
Maybe I could start bringing in some of the fan questions, and we'll just ask you guys what's been popping up from Facebook and Instagram and integrate that slowly. into
Probably the most
conversation.
questions we've got for any guests so far, right?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Deeds was probably creeping up pretty high in fan questions, but yeah, we got a lot for you guys.
Well, I think here's the best question for you guys being on the Cali Death podcast. Is someone asked, like, how did you guys convince AJ to do the Chapters of Repugnance album? And so if you guys are willing to talk about how you guys got AJ in fold, I'm super interested to hear that too. So.
Hell yeah.
That would be Lille, because I remember, I don't know exactly, you somehow got a hold of him, so.
Yeah. So like the story you gotta know is like I don't know. Between Christian, my dad, and I don't know, we watched The Scourge in Ohio with AJ at one point, and whoever knows that video knows what AJ brings to the table, and I just remember the phrase back then was the best death metal frontman of all time. So between the three of us, I don't know, it was just a thing, and we were like, that guy is just that's just crazy. It's just like, that's kind of what we need or something. And then funny enough, Josh says he religiously watched that video as well, right?
Oh yeah, it's classic.
Yeah.
Classic video.
Yeah. So yeah, we the link was, of course, as so many times, Derek Boyer, right?
That's great. I was just thinking that it must have been Derek.
Yeah. So I don't know. I got a hold of him via email, like, hey, do you know what AJ is doing at the moment? Because we were looking for a vocalist. And Derek actually says, like, I don't know, Derek and AJ are just like, they seem to me, they're like they're like a clique of two or something. Like they have this mindset.
Two peas in a pot.
Yeah, they have this mindset about musical perfection is just really important to them. And I don't know, I just felt like I'm the same, just on a different part of the planet, you know. And he just said, hey, he would love your drumming. I'll blah blah blah. I'll put you two in contact or whatever. And then I don't know what I sent him. I think I sent him the promo 2007. And I remember he was like, yeah, this stuff is good, but I'll make it better. And I was like, I said, yeah, I believe that. And yeah, but I guess basically he was into it. I think he just liked the intricacy, and I don't know when, like, again, that deprecated EP, you know, I saw like they were greeting their influences, you know, and it was like cynic, immolation, suffocation, gorguts, you know. It's like it's the same. It looks like we have the same roots, you know. So I guess we just got along right away. And I mean, me also being a huge deprecated fan too. And then yeah, I guess it was kind of reciprocal, or how you call it. And yeah, I don't know. Then he came over. We had like we had a week to get down the vocal patterns, because most of the lyrics I have already written. He added a few words here and there, and yeah, I would say most of the vocal patterns were already done, and that was just basically AJ and I in a room, just, I don't know, working on that stuff. It was pretty amazing. Just like he came out of the airport, like I picked him up from the airport, and I'm like, okay, this guy wants to rest now, probably. And I was like, so where can I get a Red Bull? Let's start working right now. And we're like, yes, that's my kind of guy, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I remember back then when we had the room right above the rehearsal room.
yeah,
We had the demos on I don't know, probably cassette tape back then from the Tascam, and we were going over them, and he was like basically shaping, perfecting his vocal lines. And I remember coerced, we had like a few places to fill for like vocal lines, so he filled them in. And yeah, that was also he came over a week before we went into the studio. So he didn't just come over to practice, but it was like, okay, we have 1 week time, and then we got studio time booked. And yeah, so we really made that happen, and then came out of the studio and went straight on stage and played everything live.
Damn.
yeah, that was crazy,
Jesus.
but good time, definitely.
Yeah.
And the album you made with him, Chapters, I mean, it's, you know, I remember like seeing it in stores, and it had like the promo sticker on it, like the most brutal album of all time or whatever. And it's like fucking true. And and the style is a little different than Psalms. Like Psalms is a little more, I would say, like just the way the album starts and like just throws you into like the jazz and then the blasts like almost right away. But Chapters has that really long build up, and it's much more of a dramatic kind of statement with a like a kind of a long intro, beginning, end sort of flow to it. So I'm sure that was more on the musical side. And I've heard, you know, I just listened to where you and Jacob talk about jamming drums and bass on that album a lot, just writing it and stuff. So that kind of helped shape it. But yeah, just like, how did you guys like engineer that album and get that, like that guitar tone, that snare tone? Like how did and vocals into it? Like, how did you guys
Um,
conceptualize that one?
So we had when AJ arrived, we were just done with tracking drums, guitar, and bass. We did it all in an old studio that I used to rent out in Berlin. So I was engineering it, and Wolfgang wasn't around anymore for that. So it was, for the first time, was all Christian, and I think he still used that. Shit, now I can't. Was it still a little tri-metal? It was a tri-metal, yeah.
Yeah, it
So
was a tri-metal pedal.
on Psalms, he had the Zoom multi-effect, which I forgot what it's called, GTGX.
Me too. I forgot it too.
What the heck? So it's like a 3-button push or whatever.
Yeah.
And then for that one, it was just a little solid state, just a little gain distortion pedal that was really hard to find too. And it had some like dings and dongs, and wasn't like, sometimes the knobs would be like scratching, you know, once you had it all set, you couldn't touch it. But it delivered that sound, like that just ultra scooped, brutal death metal, like endless sustain kind of sound. And that's what we recorded with that through JCM 2000
Yeah.
amp. And that's how we recorded the guitar. And then when AJ came, we were just done with that, and we just had a few days to get his vocals tracked. Yeah.
Fucking wild, dude. I don't think I could work under that pressure, dude. Flying to Germany and then fucking bang out fucking vocals for a few days and then be like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah.
Shows right after, right?
Oh, you guys did shows after that too?
It shows, yeah. We did one show with him and then a few more without him.
Yeah.
Well, that's a whole different story. But we went straight to Mountains of Death open air in Switzerland, which is an epic festival. Used to be, not around anymore, unfortunately. And that was not just the first show with him, but the first show playing all of Chapters, basically in one go. And it was pretty epic experience for us just to play with this new dude, all new songs, and just, you know, kind of trying to you know, have the faith that we can do it without really, you know, having done it before. And then after that, we flew to the UK for a week-long little tour, and that didn't end too well for AJ because he got held at immigration and sent back to Germany. And Lille had to. I think they got you a headset, like you know, while you were drumming and you were doing vocals with the headset.
Oh shit, dude!
Jesus.
I wanted to ask about that too. Yeah. So
yeah,
how'd you learn how to sing, Lille?
I don't know. Everybody who listens to death metal tries it at least one time, and if you're not 100% super shitty like Jacob, then you
thanks for throwing one under the bus here.
do one right now, Jacob. Try one right now.
I can't. I'll ruin my voice. Really, my voice will hurt for 3 days if I'll do it.
Okay.
I'm not laughing at that. I'm just saying that's funny that to come across somebody who can't just do it and be like, okay, I'm good. You're actually like saying that it'll be painful after.
Yeah. I have no technique whatsoever. Doesn't matter if it's growling, singing, speaking. Probably, you know, it's just.
I mean,
My voice. When I was a child, in fact, I had like they call them knots in your voice cords. For like I don't know what I did wrong, but maybe I was just too loud, screaming too much or whatever. But I actually went to like the voice doctor, like I don't know what you call that here, like a throat doctor. And he said, well, you know, you screwed your vocal cords up pretty fucking bad. And that was at like age 11 or something. Damn. And he literally prescribed me to like not speak for 2 weeks straight, which of course I couldn't do.
Whoa.
And to let it heal. And I don't think it ever healed. And it's just fucked.
Oh man.
Was it like polyps? Is that the name for what?
I wouldn't know what that was called in English. It was like, he says like knotted and like calloused and just, I don't know.
That's probably what you're talking about. I mean, yeah, Joseph, the polyp. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The little growths or little, yeah. I've heard about that shit. Josh has probably got tons of them, dude. He's like, dude, I got a collection of polyps, dude. I got various sizes.
It's like a shroom garden in there, yeah.
Who knows?
How about Josh starting on vocals? Like, were you just like walking around just practicing them anytime you were like out of ear's distance from other people? Is that like how you do death vocals growing up?
Yeah, I mean, well, nowadays, because I mean, I lived in New York City for probably like, I think like 6 years. And that's when I first joined Defeated Sanity. So it was actually hard for me to rehearse because you always live in an apartment like where your neighbor is literally like right on the other side of the other wall. So I could never feasibly rehearse at home. So sometimes like I would end up rehearsing late at night at the studio I worked at the time. When everybody else was gone, I'd go in the vocal booth and like run through the Defeated set. That's how I prepped for tour. Otherwise, me prepping for tour would be just like listening to the set religiously on every single commute to and from work. But when I was younger, it would be, like, I get home from school and I would like put on like an album and just try to sound like all of my favorite vocalists. And I would just try to like, I would try to imitate certain vocalists to see if my voice could do that, or if I could teach my voice to do that. And I guess that's just how my palette formed over time.
Totally, dude. I remember myself I was on a Radio Shack mic. I had this Sony fucking combo thing, 5 CD disc changer, double cassette player, mic in, headphone out, and you could record and shit. And I would record over like Sepultura and fucking all this shit, and try and sound like Max. That's what I was trying to do. I just would try and belt out a fucking Max growl or Max scream as hard as I could, dude. And that was my practice.
There you go. My big ones were like Tomb of the Mutilated, of course.
Yeah, well, that's later down the road for sure. I was just thinking of, like, the first times I actually like try and be like a vocalist.
Oh yeah, totally. And yeah, that's kind of where it started for me was like Cannibal Corpse. And then actually, I mean, testament to the times. Like I grew up where like the whole deathcore thing was like just starting, and there was actually good stuff happening. Like that first Whitechapel album, Lily will tell you, I still tell him I think that album is great. And the vocals on that album, I was like blown away.
Yeah.
At the time, and that was one of the ones where I was like, "Ooh, I got to try to learn how to do that." So I would, I would rehearse along to that, and then it would be like Dying Fetus and Circle of Dead Children, all that kind of stuff. Try to figure out how the hell they make these sounds and stuff, and see if it's something I could feasibly do.
That always cracked me up about Whitechapel, because we did a 40 show tour with them a while back, and fucking Phil, the singer's like fucking this tall.
Yeah,
he's like this little tiny guy, and just goes up there and just goes like the most insane, like, I don't know, his voice is like one of my favorite growls still to this day. I think
he has a great voice. That first album, or some of, I still stand by it. They're insanely great vocals.
Yeah, definitely.
You could still do it. You just the style just changed, I guess. But like, I'm almost certain he can still do that kind of stuff too. It's not like he lost it.
Yeah, I'm sure he just wanted to save his voice.
Josh, did you have anything like serious going before Defeated? If that's an offensive question, I'm sorry. I didn't do too much on your past, dude. Tell me what you were doing before this.
So, I mean, I played in like local bands in high school and middle school, of course. That's how like, the whole band thing started for me. I played in like a deathcore band called Death Haven. Played at all the Battle of the Bands and like opened local shows and all that kind of stuff. And then when I was in, I think I actually started at the end of, towards the end of high school at the time. I had a solo project called Autonomy, which was brutal death metal stuff that early on was influenced by like Putrid Pile.
Good stuff.
And then slowly moved into more of like the Cali influence of Disgorge and Defeated Sanity, of course, because, I was a big fan at the time as well. And that's actually how Lily and I ended up getting in contact with each other initially, was through that project, because he actually liked some of the stuff, and I was like, really?
I remember downloading your Bandcamp demo back then. Did you ever get that $1 from me?
I probably have not claimed that $1 yet.
Not claimed it. No, Bandcamp took it.
When shit hits the fan and I have no money, I'm gonna log back into my Bandcamp account, and that'll be for the day.
Just put it towards Bitcoin or something.
But that was that. As far as like musical endeavors that had reached the public, those were my my only forays. Autonomy was the one that it also kind of helped me to like network and just meet people in the scene and stuff like that.
Did you step in for any other bands during that time or anything? No.
No. I at least not live. I had done maybe some guest vocal appearances. I can't name any off the top of my head at the moment. But yeah, I mean, at the time that also allowed me to just really dive into the scene, because I would just trade my demos or promos. I did an EP with Savard Records, and I would just trade them with bands. I wasn't even looking for money out of any of it. I just wanted to, like, here's my CD I just put out like a couple of months ago. Like, send me yours. Like, and I just wanted to like meet people and become
trade art.
At that point, and then I met Lily through that, and here we are.
That's killer, dude. Yeah. I was expecting you to tell me some other bands that I should have fucking. I mean, not that I'm saying that those bands weren't big. I'm just saying, like, I thought that if you were pulled up for the new Defeated Sanity record, I was going to hear some other projects that I should have been paying attention to.
Oh no, I just came out of the woodwork.
That's fucking awesome.
The raw gem.
Pulled straight up to varsity, dude. Just fucking.
It was basically a typical YouTube guy situation, because I saw him sing "Consumed by Repugnance" from the Chapters album. And I actually remember AJ and I going like, whoa, this guy he's like spot on. And it's like, I don't know, the first thing I recognized, like the voice is great. It's just what we need. But the most important thing for our band is you need to be rhythmically inclined. So to get all the time signature changes and just the rhythms and all the syncopated stuff, and I don't know, most people just had problems with that I've tried, and but with him everything was right there. Like, you don't even have to add anything. It's just like, let's go on tour.
Yeah. Killer, dude.
Well, I remember our second correspondence in that regard was you had sent me. It was like a raw mix of an instrumental version of Blissfully Exsanguinated, because you were like, this is like one of the more complex songs on the new album, and if you can like nail the timing for this, like that is highly impressive. Yeah. So I sent it back to you and was like, here you go. And you were like, yeah, I'll hit you up if I need you someday. And then it was like 4 years later.
Yeah.
Hey, we got a tour, and we could use fill-in on vocals. Are you down? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, and then
I'm not down or anything. Hell no.
So yeah, it's, I guess then was I gotta say something now to a friend of mine. So then Conny, der Pimmel, he couldn't go and do a US tour, and I was like, so who should I ask? And I was like, we were thinking about like with him together, and I was like, hey, check this guy out. And I was like, yeah, this guy, he will do it, But yeah,
I didn't have anything else going on.
He's young, he'll do anything.
He was okay with him doing it.
So as we mentioned just before taping, I was at your first show with Defeated at the Colony in Sacramento in 2015. And I was just talking about that show with another guy, Tom, who's a friend of the podcast, who was like, yeah, I was there. And I was like, so was I. And we were both just like, yeah, Defeated killed it that night. And I just remembered, like, who's this new kid? Is he going to be good? And it was just better than Coney for sure. Like, I liked Coney, but like, I wanted a little bit of the older style. And you just brought it immediately that first show. And we were all just like Defeated's going to be good. Like, they're going to do good shit. It's going to be great. So yeah,
I appreciate it. I definitely shat my pants like a couple of times before that set. Definitely.
Yeah, I bought this shirt there. Yeah, so
represent.
Cheers.
Yeah,
it was a fun show.
Always.
That was a good first show experience. At least it wasn't like obscene extreme. I was like, we were basically in like a garage.
I was sweating bullets that show. That was my second with Defeated, but still, I was not well. Say the least.
Damn.
And it was 3 a.m. after like Dismember and all bunch.
That was the worst thing, because I had to watch how Dismember were playing to like 2,000-3,000 people, and of course we wouldn't have that crowd, but it doesn't matter. You see that crowd. It's like, all right, we're on like next after the next or something. I was just like, oh my fucking god, I don't know if I can do this. And of course, by the time we went on, the crowd was decimated to like a few hundred people, so that helped. But
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yep. That was
Got
my
more
first
fan
big
questions?
festival too. That was my big first festival too.
Oh, was it?
Extreme. That was
Obscene.
my first
Yeah.
open air festival. Yeah, I remember that.
That's on my list. I really want to play it someday. It looks fun. I
Oh,
don't
it's a
know.
party. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like a
You will
party
see
to me,
naked
man.
people.
party.
You will see naked people. They
Yeah.
will be right on the stage with you.
Naked guy.
That's my my fondest, I guess you could say, memory. My fondest memory. Dream was like literally like I think it was maybe like 3 songs in, and like just a naked dude just crawled on all 4s across the front of the stage.
they'll roll down the hill and everything with their pecker out. It's no problem.
Yeah, no, they're totally. Everything is on the table.
I mean, you got to think that's kind of the most metal thing of all, dude. To just say, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna go naked."
Yeah.
It is the
fuck-
most bucket festival.
Everybody's representing bands. I'm representing my nipples, dude.
Yeah.
And my miniature, no, my mediocre junk. That's it. That's all I'm representing, dude.
Miniature.
I went for miniature first, but I was talking about him. I'm not. I almost was talking about myself. I got the
No, certainly not yourself.
miniature that made 3 children. What's up?
Yeah, technology is really good with the doctors and shit now.
Yeah, dude, they cost me about 75 grand, but dude, I got 3 children.
Yeah. So, I guess we're kind of following a bit of a chronology here. So we're like, talking about, moving from chapters. We obviously there's the Passages era, and then there's Josh joining. Maybe it's time I can raise this, fan question on the songwriting process, which presumably has evolved, and you've talked about your songwriting process in other interviews, but maybe we can focus on like what the current state of songwriting will be for Defeated, for the newest album that you just did, and anything looking forward. How does that go these days?
The album we kind of left out was Passages, which was, I think, the most collaborative album we've ever done, and I loved that process. Like,
May I say that was also when we were an all German band. Again,
all German band.
so we were all in the jam space together, and that helped a lot with that.
Yes, yeah.
Josh, do you have any German heritage or ancestry?
None whatsoever. I am the least German human being, I guess you could say. I don't think I have any German blood in me.
I was just gonna try and work you back into the mix. With
Oh no, it's okay. I accept my recess at this point.
Yeah. So, anyways, I really enjoy writing like that. That to me is that's bliss. Actually, on Passages is where AJ's influence was big too. Like it was, he wrote parts of Martyrium. Like 2 key riffs on that were from AJ, and then he wrote the lyrics for Frenzy. So even him was playing into it, and Connie was giving his little bits, and then Christian wrote a lot of stuff. Jacob wrote a lot of stuff. I wrote most of it, as always. But see, that all that for the new album was condensed into like 2 songs this time. So like basically, like there were 2 songs where we actually did that, where I'm like, we were sitting, like I made it a point to the band, okay, we got the rest of the album down, let's tomorrow, like we had like 3 days of rehearsal or something, we jammed the set like twice a day, the day before, and went through the other songs that were just like almost done or whatever. And then I said the 3rd day I want to listen to all the ideas and see if we can come up with something here. And then I just love these moments, so Christian has this this crazy riff here, or like Christian actually had like 3 riffs in that song, like also main riffs, and then Jacob added this one riff, and then I'm the one that puts it all
Talking
together.
about dribbling right now.
Dribbling.
Just because people don't know.
Yeah, we're talking about
So-
the new album at this point, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about the new album. Yes.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, with this album, it was basically me being a death metal composer, basically, and there were like the composition kind of takes place on the guitar, so that's the big beginning kind of, and then I guess I would make demos somehow. I made demos playing drums over it, and that I would send to Jacob, and then we would talk about the bass lines, which sometimes definitely also brings a change of structure even. But yeah, mostly it's actually just like composition, you know. It's just like was just basically my vision, you know. And then at the very end, Josh and I got together and talked about the topics we want to cover, and we got together over Facebook chat, actually, video chat, and talked about the lyrics and how they would form vocal patterns.
Yeah, we basically did that, like, I want to say like once or twice a week, basically, from the point of starting work on the vocals until we went into the studio every single week, like 1 or 2 days a week for 2-3 hours, I would say.
Yeah.
And yeah, and we would basically wrote all the lyrics together on the album, and we would do a lot of the vocal parts there as well. We would, you know, collaboratively come up with vocal timings. You had a lot of preconceived things for the vocals that just had to happen because the thing about the new album is that there's a lot of points at which where if one element was missing, like it's almost like some other things wouldn't make sense. So it was almost like there were points where, you know, the vocal had to do something particular to kind of have its part.
Yeah, like a how do you say, polyrhythmic element or point if it has.
Yeah, often it is that the vocals actually hold down the beat, while the guitars and drums create like some weird different dimension. And then it's like, I remember in Phytodigestion when we all play like this dotted stuff, dan 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 dan.
Yeah.
Like Josh would be the one that goes.
Yeah. Everybody's dotted and he's just straight.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
There's definitely a few moments on that album where when we were in the studio where I was just like, I do not understand what the fuck I'm supposed to do right here.
Message in a bottle riff.
Yeah, the message in a bottle riff. Jacob can relate to like that.
Yeah, sometimes Zilla has ideas that he somehow links to something that makes perfect sense to him, but doesn't necessarily translate to the outside world. And but he's insistent that it has to, and I'm just like, no, this doesn't work for me. Let me try it my own way, and then I'll figure it out somehow.
I remember at rehearsal one time, and we were running down some of the new songs, and that message in a bottle riff came up, and we were there for like 3 hours just trying to make sense of this one little section of that song.
Do you know which song that riff is in?
Yeah, it's from Imposed. It's the guitar kind of plays it like,
oh yeah,
and the reason why Lille was insisting that we just have to think of message in a bottle is because it's syncopated. But
yeah, it's that vocal line. How's it?
I hope that someone gets my.
Yeah, I hope that someone gets my.
And that was so funny because Lille was just like humming that Police song over the riff, and it just didn't help whatsoever. Because the problem with this particular part was not the syncopation, not to understand or see the syncopation, but just to like put all the different pieces together for me personally. And so I was just like, no, you're adding confusion right here. So let's not involve the police song, please.
It's still all the same starting points. So
At the time, it was doing more harm than good. But it ended up, it makes sense. Of course it makes sense because it's all syncopated. But at the time, it was also like, they were just trying to like play this fucking crazy riff at the same time. And then that was just like, oh my God, so much.
yeah, definitely. But we got it.
Yeah,
Well,
what really was, sorry, didn't mean to interrupt, but to get back to the question how the songwriting has changed, we should probably add that for the first time on this album, we actually tabbed out our songs. We did it with Dharmata, so yeah, we did it before, not for a whole album, but not for anything like brutal stuff, but yeah, with Dharmata we did it. But this time was like a, true Defeated album where we actually kept track of the songs by writing it down into Guitar Pro and even recording with a click track in the end. That was all new to us.
Yeah.
Has changed. And that was necessary because of the distance now between all the members, to be able to exchange ideas, and so that he can send me something and I can, write my bass parts and send them back. That would have been such a hassle doing it the old school way of, hey, let me show you a riff and you play it or you try stuff to it. That just doesn't really work over.
Yeah, or remember the thing I told you, like how, like if you send me an idea on Guitar Pro, it doesn't have as much weight as if you're like making promotion for you, like playing it, and here you could play this, and you could jam it right away.
Totally. The dynamic, just the energy of being in a jam space together, where you can convince somebody of this idea that you have that in Guitar Pro may not translate at all, but when you can actually convince somebody to like jam on it and be like, hey, try to play this and see, this is where the accent goes or something, and then something evolves out of it. So that's something that unfortunately we were not able to do to the same extent this time. There were those couple of songs that Lille was mentioning where we actually got the chance to be together in the room, but for the most part it was this time was more of Lille making composition guitar wise and drum wise. Of course he does it in a bundle, and then sending that stuff out to us and be like, hey, this is what I want to do. And then I sometimes he has ideas for the bass, and sometimes I have my freedom. And same with the vocals for Josh with the vocal lines, what he mentioned. And that's how it came together.
Basically, yeah.
Cool. Yep. Josh, did you contribute any like guitar ideas to this one?
No, I didn't. No real musical ideas, I think, came from me. Just some parts vocally, of course. We're both collaborative, and then I probably threw. It's hard to remember off the top of my head because it's such a mixed salad of insane fuckery. But yeah, no, I didn't have. I don't think I had any true musical input on the album, because most of my input came like after all of that stuff was already written.
Yeah, for sure. Just it would be cool if you could play and sing at the same time, and then you'd need anyone else.
It
right?
would never be possible. It's just so complex. Like it would just be such a mind fuck, especially for this kind of material where like literally it's almost like we're in a different meter, the guitar and the vocal. I would never be able to do it. I don't have the coordination to be able to play and sing at the same time.
We'll leave it up to Sting and the Police to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep that message in the bottle, dude. Don't take it out.
Yeah, dude, cruising through these questions. Someone's curious on like what are the most difficult Defeated Sanity songs to play.
Probably depends which instrument.
Yeah.
So each of you maybe.
I'm gonna give it a thought.
Revise it for each one. Everyone call their own worst or hardest song to do.
I would almost think that as a general rule for me as a finger player, the more it's about stamina of like playing straight 16th for like 2 minutes, that's where I'm like struggling. That's where I'm like, I'm pushing. and I don't struggle so much with the fretboard stuff. The fretboard stuff's all right for me, but just being a finger player and playing those 16ths on end, it's just that's where I'm struggling. I'm thinking of it like anything, like for example, at the time, and that might have changed now, but at the time, Consumed by Repugnance, for example, was one of those songs that starts with just going on and on and on and on. That was where I was like, give me a fucking break. Now it's all like I guess like an athlete, you just have to run that marathon a few times and you got it down. But I remember at the time that was way harder to me than any like.
Are you all four fingers? All four on?
I do 16th with 2. Usually, if it gets too fast, I do 16th with 3. But usually the third finger comes into play when I'm doing triplets and stuff.
Sick.
Oh, you mean
You guys play to a? Do you guys play to a click at all? Are you just
Again?
Do you play to a click track at all, or are you just straight?
We did now for the first time on this
Okay.
album. And on Dharmata we did as well, but before that, never.
Yeah.
But live still without a click, even
Yeah,
on the new
100%
material.
without a click, yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, no.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I always noticed too when you got the nerves going, like as far as like your speed everything up, you got a big crowd watching you. You know, it's like everything kind of gets sped up without a click, and then so I would notice too, like versus playing in your house and warming up and playing the songs, you'd be playing live and like, why am I cramping? Like all of a sudden, like in the first song, like my arms are giving out, and then you listen back, like, oh shit, we're going faster, way faster.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Joel always made us play too fast, dude.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's it for me, really. That 16th or 30 seconds or whatever we want to call it, finger speed. I don't know on the new album what's the worst. Maybe Arboriously, because it's one of those fast ones that has really same kind of concept, just like because it's 16th, I want to play it with 2 fingers, because it will just with 3 fingers, you will have each finger sounds different, and you'll have you'll have an emphasis on a different note each time. And if you really want to have it brutal, you gotta, like a 1-foot blast kind of thing, you gotta play it with 2 fingers. And that speed is just like, oh my God, that's pushing my boundaries for sure. So on the new album, those moments are probably what's most challenging to me.
I'm literally looking at my hand right now, like, yeah, dude, the index and the middle could sound very similar, but that once that ring finger is in play, I could tell that since it's a smaller tip and all that shit, that it would translate a different.
Yeah, it will sound different for sure.
You learn something new every day, Dan.
How about Lille on drums? Do you write anything that's like particularly harder than anything else, or?
I remember, I think the most nervous I have been for a long time has been when we had to perform Dharmata live, because the thing about Dharmata is not really speed, but it's like, or even complicated time signatures or something, but I wanted to sound not nervous. You know, if you play cryptopsy stuff, it's cool if you sound nervous, but Dharmata is like, I don't know, I wanted to really get out the groove, the real, like, you know, the fusion kind of expert kind of groove. And that groove is kind of contradicting what I've been doing for years and years and years, you know. And it's like, all of a sudden it's like, you know, you wanna basically, I want to be one big homage to Sean Reiner, you know, and that kind of drove me nuts. That, and then on top of that, of course, the interplay with everybody, and the one guy has to step on the clean channel at the right point, and then there's a lot of polyrhythmic thing going where every instrument is doing something else. It's like, that stuff really made me nervous, you know, and that's not good when you want to sound not nervous, when you want to sound like Dennis Chambers or, you know.
It's when you're playing that style too, like it's like you feel like your mistakes are heard even more, you know. Like if you're off, and also like you were saying, it's like I remember when I would get nervous and like get out there, and playing fast kind of helped me to just get all that nerves out,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's funny what you're saying.
And you can also imagine, I mean, for Lille, like the Dharmata material, there's also the dynamic element to the drums that isn't there in typical Defeated
Right. Yeah.
material. A lot of like how hard you're playing and like what kind of feel you're putting into just the dynamics. That's like a whole other dimension that you usually don't even have to like quite pay as much mind to.
Yeah, 100%. And it's that's another factor for the Dharmata tour. We did use a trigger on the bass drum because we don't trust just like random sound guys to make a natural bass drum sound that's worth like a shit. So for the metal parts that was okay, but when you play like supposed to play like a smooth fusiony part, and you hear every time you hit the bass drum, you get like it makes you, so
that was that split. I want to call it a split because it definitely is a split. Disposal of the Dead and Dharmata. That was a really exciting like surprise for me when that album came out, because it touched on two of my favorite aspects of the early 90s. That raw, just straight in your face brutality, and then the Florida style progressive influenced, Cynic style, which by the way, Cynic is like my favorite band. And I'll tell you that is the closest homage I've heard that has come out of the metal scene since Focus. Like I've heard, I don't even know how to pronounce Vixius or whatever. They've touched on it a lot.
Vixius,
Yeah.
They've touched on it really close, but the feel that I got from that second half of that record took me right back to when I was first being introduced to the early 90s Florida scene. So kudos to that shit.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
The thing is,
and getting the death growler from Cynic on the album too is just a fucking huge, gigantic cherry on top of the sundae, Yeah,
Max was awesome. So Anthony, I saw you wear a Watchtower t-shirt on one of the Odious shots.
Yeah,
so
dude.
That homage is like basically I would call it rather a Watchtower homage than a Cynic homage, but like
since I'm definitely in there.
With the vocals, it leans towards the Cynic, and the fusiony stuff is more Cynic, but the just straight up progressive jazzy licks and drum and bass interplay moments. There we took the slice from Watchtower for sure.
That control and resistance feel. Yeah, dude, definitely. I mean, that takes us back to, we haven't mentioned any keywords recently, so I'm going to the Thunderdome and Furniture Dome, Watchtower, Spastic Inc., like all that shit just blew our minds back then, dude. And it's still with us today. And when we see it in other bands and you can understand that they were going through that at the same time back then, and now it's showing in their music, it's just, you just want to, because that there's people in the world that are still hanging on to the true shit that you gathered along the way, and these are still the acts and the artists that still stand out for us today. And you guys did a good job.
Wow. Yeah.
Tribute.
Such a small circle of people, it seems, that really are passionate about like Spastic Inc. It was huge when I first heard it. I was like, huge, these guys must be fucking monsters. I mean, musically they are.
They are.
You don't understand. I didn't understand until later that it's actually like very niche music that only a very few people really know about and appreciate. And that also blows my mind because it's just so far out there. They should be like, they should be like Dream Theater, that's back in the day. That was in my mind. They should.
And to our collective social groups, they are, they're bigger.
Indeed.
Definitely.
And it's super cool that we're grateful. I'm grateful enough to have enough people around me that were to experience it with me and I give me that cushion of, yes, there are other people around here that are into the same stuff, and we can fall in love with all the same shit together, you know?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. And
Jarzenbeck actually just released a song 2 days ago, a brand new song.
I actually haven't checked it out yet. You guys were saying that, I haven't checked it out. I want
It's
to
awesome.
sit in a quiet place and listen before I actually.
Yeah, he's still going.
Very blotted. Yeah, it's good.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, on that Dharmata kick, like I saw you on that tour too, and I can relate to Lily, like your nervousness, not just in being able to play that style, but for that particular audience where you're in between like Visceral Disgorge at first, who are like as slammy and like produced in a live context as it gets, and then after you is Archspire and Origin, who are like the two fastest bands in the world in their own particular styles of drumming. So not only did you have to play that, you had to play it for an audience of people who probably know Defeated much more from your, traditional sound, and who are also there to see, like, they're speed freaks in a sense. And so you had to play for that audience, and that probably also upped the nervousness factor.
Yeah, see, originally that Dharmata tour was designed to be with Exist and Gorguts.
Like, that would have fit, dude.
Yeah,
much better.
We were supposed to support Gorguts, and Exist were gonna be with us, so Max could just do the vocals for us and do double duty basically. So that's where that set really belonged. But see, we had lots of heavy practicing behind us with Tom Geldschläger here from Berlin, the second guitarist that joined us for that tour. And I don't know, then we got the Origin Archspire offer, and
first you got to explain that this tour got canceled. So the Gorguts tour, we had to drop out. It actually didn't get canceled. They still went ahead with Exist, but we had to drop out because we literally got our US visas approved 3 days after the tour started, and then it would take another few days, and then we would have gotten to go to the embassy, and it was wasted. So we had to drop out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Shit. I wouldn't have even mentioned that. Yeah. Anyways, so instead, so all that work, I didn't want it to be for nothing, So for that reason, I was like, whatever tour we're gonna get, we're gonna do Dharmata, because that's we gotta do it. And if we record an album and release an album, then I want to present it live. And that was basically the one tour that we did it. And it was definitely not the right tour to do that.
Well, you say that it's not the right tour, and I can understand in an overall umbrella sense, but then you got the dudes that are like me who go to those shows, and the standout act is actually who made the impact on me that night. Like going, here we go, another keyword, the Pound, going to the Pound, and just the different lineups that they would have, and they would mix it on purpose. It wouldn't be the same type of band every single set, because that would get monotonous after a while. You want to have different flavors in there, and to have a band like that in the middle of what we were just talking about, to me, that would be the standout set for me.
That sounds right. It sounds right. And I gotta say, I totally enjoyed watching Visceral Disgorge, that tour, because we were so brutal deprived and slam deprived. So they kind of represented what we normally bring to the table. So that was kind of cool, it is a cool mix, I
mean, it sounds like a well-rounded it's got a little something for everybody on that bill,
I mean, going back to Cynic too. I mean, Cynic back in the day, right? They opened for Cannibal Corpse.
It's the exact same thing of being at Berkeley Square. Yeah,
very hard time doing so, if I remember.
Yeah. I heard that too. My brother was there. He said that It was an interesting response from the people. There was people that knew about Cynic and were there for, were stoked to see him. There's people like, what the fuck is this shit? Fucking Cannibal Corpse, fuck you, there's
But
people
that's super
screaming that.
cool because that's like another layer of homage or tribute. You're taking the risks that Sam band took, or these bands took back then.
Yeah.
It's all about taking risks, dude. It doesn't necessarily mean that the payoff's going to be what you're looking for, but as an artist, taking risks is a must, or you're not going to fucking go anywhere. You're not going to do anything.
And I'm sure we turned some heads on that tour that were not expecting, either didn't know us or went for one of the other bands, or went for us thinking we would play the brutal stuff, and then we probably split their minds. Half the people were like, "What the fuck is that?" I paid for Defeated Sanity, and the other half the people were like, "Holy shit!" That's I got something different. That's even better. So,
controversy is the best, dude. Splitting a room actually could be to your benefit, dude. You know,
we do it.
No
press is bad press.
Yep.
Well, like the Cynic '94 tour, right, with Cannibal.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about.
I missed it. Yeah,
that's all. Yeah, but we were just comparing it. It's the same exact thing. It's taking risks in the moment, or not in the moment, but taking risks in a situation where you could totally coast by and have played Defeated Sanity's older material, and it would have fit better maybe with that bill. But no, you guys stuck with it. You had pride in your newer material, and you wanted to give it to the world.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
indeed.
And can I just ask about the wood blocks? How you decided to incorporate that into the drumming on that album?
Okay, so Jacob will laugh. I'm Jacob and Josh. I'm an absolute caveman, absolute idiot. So the original idea was another homage, bring the fucking E toms,
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, that's not me. That's just not me. So I wanted like an alien element, because you would hear, this kind of stuff. I just love that about Watchtower and Cynic.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, hey, I can do that acoustically. Let's just take these wood blocks. I've always liked hitting on these wood blocks. If you hit like rudiments, it's really crisp and everything. The next thing should be probably those roto toms. I just like stuff like that. So it's basically I substituted that alien element with acoustic version. That's basically it, because I can't be bothered with more cables. And like if I wouldn't have had to trigger, it would just be me in my drum kit.
It's funny because I was just saying, if it has a wire, I was thinking if it has a wire on, it's not for you. As long as it's true analog, you can deal with it. But as soon as there's cables involved, it's like, nah.
Yeah, the trigger is like basically the threshold at which it loses its enjoyment.
Hey, I did play the samples.
You did. You very much did. Yep.
True. Yeah.
And I didn't fuck up. I think I fucked up once where I played the wrong intro for like.
Well, also I set up everything for you, and you just had to hit the button. Truth be told, yeah, but you did a good job.
Busted. Pressing the button.
just a couple quick memories from that show in the LA area. It was out in like Riverside County. I don't remember the exact city.
Oh, was that the Indian restaurant?
Yeah, the Indian restaurant.
You were at that show?
That's that show. I was there.
Oh, holy shit.
And Paul Masvidal came out.
Yep, that's right.
And I just remember I did talk to him. I got drunk and then like fucking, Cynic's my favorite band, like later in the night. But I just remember being in the venue and watching Paul look around, and he went over to the Visceral Disgorge merch setup and was like checking out all the like the dead babies with the fucking
that brim hat.
Yeah, like it's the most ridiculous merch table ever. And I just remember looking at Paul, looking at that, and just thinking, like imagining him thinking, look how far death metal has come since I you know, back in, helped invent it or
Think
whatever.
about it. He was playing with Cannibal, and if you got a 2 mm mutilated shirt, it's just as gnarly, dude.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a gnarly fucking
It's
cover.
funny to
dude.
think
It was
that
all said and done with after Tomb of the Mutilated. Butchered at Birth and Tomb of the Mutilated. It was all said and done.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see that. It's like Paul's like basically like a dad looking at his son's like death metal band merch, going like, oh, okay, all right, well, this is what's going on.
Namaste.
yeah, fittingly at an Indian restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually remember I was so sick that night.
Oh yeah.
Oh, really?
Incredibly sick.
Yep.
So Max told me, yo, when you're done playing, you're going into the car, driver's seat, and you're turning the heat on, and you're staying there until we like are done with packing everything and stuff. So there was this little moment where it's like he brings Paul to the car, and I'm like, hey Paul, you're awesome, but I'm sick. You rather not shake my hand right now. It's like, yeah, I totally missed that encounter.
That was a good show, man. Got like moved
Oh,
twice the day of the show. They like moved the venues around, and it ended up at this Indian restaurant ballroom.
Super funny story. My friend Tony, who plays bass in Transcend the Realm, my band, he is living in LA, and we keep telling him like he's gonna come out. He's like, oh, I'm finishing up, I'm gonna come, and we're like telling him like, oh, the venue just got changed, and like here's the name. Oh, it changed again. Here's the new. And like he's like, all right, I'm like driving out there with my friend now, and he just like plugged in the name of the venue, but it actually was the venue name, or there's the same name as like a restaurant out in Beverly Hills. So he like drove all the way to Beverly Hills
God.
to like an Indian restaurant there,
Another
and he's
Indian
like,
restaurant.
this doesn't look like a death metal concert. He had to like drive a whole hour and a half after that.
Yeah.
Oh my
man.
god.
through like Friday LA or Saturday LA traffic too, the whole day. But he made it. We got to chill, and
Good.
that was
How
one of
many
those shows.
How many people made it to that show after all the venue changes?
Good question.
It was. I was surprised how packed it was,
Okay.
but also they downsized the venue. I don't know exactly why all that shit went down. Of course, it had to do with the local promoter fucking over. I remember our agent was Dan DeFance. He was also pretty livid about it, and I think though that because pre-sales in LA went just really well, that people still showed up, and it was I think the head count was like north of 250 or something.
Oh wow.
It was not bad at all.
Yeah. That's
It
crazy.
ended up being a good show, and all the bands had good sound, and I remember your set being very close, and I got to meet Tom that night too, which is great, and told him how much I love Fear is the Enemy and all that. But then I got to be like kind of behind John Longstreth during the Origin set, and just getting to see him up close like that. I've seen Origin live many times, but in that room, getting to be behind the kit, that was special too. And I was just so impressed that he's been able to keep up that style for, he's been going like for 15, 20 years now, just continually pushing and
Maniac.
There's so much you can do with that, he's showing us that there's so much you can do with that full 250 BPM straight 16th style. There's still so many possibilities left.
Yeah. He's sometimes by sheer tempo and playing patterns on the ride, that reminds me already of jazz, because I don't know, because he's just so fluent. So it sounds like ding 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 ding. Like it sounds like some up tempo kind of jazz stuff if you listen to the ride sometimes.
Yeah.
Or like the closed hi-hats and stuff. So yeah.
Can I ask you, Lille, about like new drummers that are like kind of coming up, making a splash in the metal scene? There's been a lot of people like Kevin Paradis and David Diepold and these guys. Do you like follow this kind of new metal drumming, which is kind of like what I found is characteristic about it is there used to be like a tempo limit on the feet, that the hands could go faster than the feet. Hands could go above 250 to maybe 280, 290. But now it's like these guys are just playing that singles on their feet, and it seems like they've just managed to like eliminate that gap between hands and feet, and it just blows me away how fucking amazing these guys are.
Yeah, man, it's I don't know. I kind of stopped trying to compete. I guess that's why the new album is also so weird, because I'm trying to get into different beats and kind of branching out in my own kind of direction. But yeah, but it's insane. I would have to lie to say, hey, I don't want to get those heel toe thingies down or whatever. Like that if I could, it would be amazing. It's just I feel it's contradicting the path that I have chosen to go, like work on my like the fusion-y, the dynamic stuff. You know, I feel like I'd be practicing 3 hours just to get the speed down. But so to answer the question, I think one of my favorite might actually just be Ken Bedeen, because he still sounds so it still sounds so musical and so dynamic, like I feel like he can do all the stuff like that I do, and plus the swivel stuff, and you know, so that's probably one of my favorites of that style. But basically, man, I don't look for that so much anymore. As I said, man, yesterday I've been listening to Sick Fuck. That's an album where like basically they can't even play their instruments. But
yeah. But Joel, my reasoning for liking grindcore, dude. Now he's just got a different style of music right here. Okay, it's the same fucking dynamics or mentality of it though. This fucking grind, bro.
Yeah, it's just like it has that attitude and has the ideas too, you know. So sometimes it's just that stuff, or I don't know. I'll start listening to stuff, power metal stuff from the 80s, and going like, whoa, Agent Steel or something. I'm like, I got into that really late, and like that's something I care more about. And then, but I think the youngest drummer that I want to say he kind of carries the torch in somewhat metal drumming when it comes to the Sean Reinhardt thing is Matt Garska. For me, he's absolutely, for me, he made Animals as Leaders. Like that's when I got Animals as Leaders, when he started being in the band. It was just mind-blowing.
Yeah, Matt is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
really exciting because he's got such a long and exciting career ahead of him, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's rad. Yeah, I did want to touch on that. I know that your style is very much innovative in ways that are different from a lot of other metal drummers, and you have your own style, and so many people respect that, and so do I. That you're one of my favorites, despite not being completely focused on just death metal double bass drumming or whatever. So yeah,
that's awesome, man. Thanks. It's yeah.
I got a one-off question real quick. Sorry for Lille. Totally one-off question. I should have asked it earlier, but I wanted to know, so you got your dad into metal and then eventually into death metal. You guys started playing death metal. Did he seek out his own bands? Did he start like digging in crates for his own death metal bands to find? And if he did, try and remember like one of the first bands that really made an impact on you that Wolfgang actually introduced you to.
That didn't happen.
That didn't happen? Okay.
No, that didn't happen. But actually, I would say that the first band where he was really, really psyched was Slayer. just the runs, like this stuff, like when it gets like artsy, you know, he's coming from a Miles Davis kind of perspective, kind of, yeah, like it has to be, he doesn't want like the plastic shit. So
Yeah.
Slayer is just like, it's just like this alien abstruse thing already, you know, and it's like, you can't explain why you like it. But no, he basically got to know every band through me, basically.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Cool,
can
yeah.
Definitely tell you at the end, his favorites were Devourment, Disgorge, Brodekin, that kind of stuff.
Hell yeah.
Brode Queen.
Brodekin, yeah. And then he was never like fit to play the really crazy tech death kind of runs. So he was more into the Devourment kind of like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. He was a
very
booster, not a shredder.
yeah. But yeah, after he decided he doesn't want to deal with that stress anymore, he was like, we were gonna start like a dark kind of version of all that Miles Davis, Chick Corea, Mahavishnu stuff, and maybe mix it with a little bit of death metal elements even. So, but it didn't
Shit.
come to that, unfortunately.
That would have been fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah,
I'll have to
guys.
invent it. Yeah. I got a couple more questions. Someone wanted to know, like, it's kind of funny, the phrasing. What is the meaning of slam to you guys?
The meaning of slam. It's
Yeah.
like Islam.
You got to get so philosophical on us.
Yeah, I mean, what it means is 1, 2, 1, 0, 1.
It's a bunch of ones and zeros. It's just like,
I don't know. I mean, I remember. Sorry, just real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
To get this started, when we first used the word slam, it was not a genre. We used the word slam as in this is a sick slam.
Yeah.
But when it became a genre, is like when we were like, you know, this is not this kind of played out over and over. It's no more, like the excitement was kind of gone when people called it slam death metal.
To be really blunt, it's like you took something great and you ruined it. Not really, but not ruined it. But
I understand what Jacob's saying. So you used it as a description of
part of a song,
a style of breakdown, just
yeah,
a part of a song. So it's
Yeah.
like basically like if somebody were to come out with blast death metal and just fucking blast the whole time.
Pretty much. That's why
Yeah.
slam doesn't kind of, I don't even know what it means anymore, because to me it was never a genre. It was like, damn, that's a sick slam, you know, just like that's a sick blast or whatever, you know. And
I remember when I found out it was a genre, I went to a Devourment Guttural Secrete show over in Fresno, and during the breakdowns, I was so confused because during the breakdowns, everyone was doing this,
Yeah.
and I was like, "What the fuck?" And everyone was doing it. And I'm sitting there just going like, where the fuck am I? Is this a new thing? Am I like, this is so weird? Like I was friends with the Devourment guys. I had no idea that was like the pit move. Everyone just like, walking around.
yeah, I mean, it's a hip hop thing, I guess, you know.
Yeah, totally.
In Europe, they'll just have a blow up hammer or some like thing.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that. I was like, in America, when you go to slam, you get the hands down, and in Europe, you get the hands sideways.
The
Oh,
chop.
they took the chop. They took the chop from Frank.
It's like 3 beers or 3 beers, you know. The America versus Europe. But anyway, those were just my 2 cents. I love slam. Like I love the sound of it. It's like a good fucking slam that just kicks you in the balls and just makes you want to go low.
Yeah.
I just don't know what the question really relates to, because as a genre, I don't really know. It kind of lost a little bit of its appeal to me. I'm not gonna lie, and I don't know what bands are still striving for when, you know, slam is literally all you're gravitating around.
Yeah, you know what I think of, like right now, like when I think like what really made the fascination of a slam is like that one part on Bleeding Profusely where he goes like, and then it's like just a double bass. Not jun 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 jun.
Totally, dude.
To me, that's what it's about. You know, you have like tremolo picking, and you've got like technical riffing, and then it's like at some point you need to do something else, and it's like, what song is that, man?
Suffocation were kind of masters of that, you know.
Yeah, sure.
Dying Fetus, dude. Dying Fetus.
Oh yeah.
I'd say that's bleeding. Suffocation. That's where like arguably the first slam ever happened.
Yep.
Okay. But they did it just right, like Casey said. The master just having that build up and then just breaking it down into the slam. And without the build up, the slam is only worth, half.
Tasteful. Yeah, but there's exceptions though, and I mean the first exception, the band that made like an album out of it first was Internal Bleeding, obviously, Then to me the prime and the best example is Josh.
What? Oh, Devourment.
Molesting?
Decapitated.
Yeah.
Of course. 100%.
And I love Molesting, but Molesting has ups and downs. It slams a lot, but it's still there's still fast parts. Not necessarily from the guitars, but the drumming maybe really bring all the difference in the structure and the build up. There's definitely build up in Molesting.
They have these weird noise parts.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of cool. Like I love your drum sound, and I love the snare tone, and you have a good like natural crack to the snare, but it sounds good. Like there's like some slam. I'm not going to say any, but I've heard albums that I'm like, well, the snare is just crazy, like ringy, But yours is sick, and it kind of reminds me of Cryptops. You like dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
That's like a different form of. It's like different from Suffo. It's kind of like
crisp.
Yeah, it's a different kind of, but so like I think of that too, like as a slam riff, as you say, like
tightly wound, smaller.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So
that won't ever change. Like I will never tune my snare down. I don't know.
Let's just say the meaning of slam is Devourment, Molesting, and Decapitated.
There you go.
There's an answer.
I think that's a perfect answer.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Heinous Killings, they really delivered something new after that, like in 2005. It's like, or him, Joe Wolf. That's just it, and that's probably not even that slam. Like maybe people wouldn't even call it slam.
I wouldn't even consider Heinous Killings slam so much, because like what I associate Heinous Killings with is like that like speed.
Yeah, true. Just a blasting drum computer, pretty much.
What about like Sect of Execration?
Oh, that's a slam.
That's something that stands out for me in the slam category that I look at
amazing,
as quality.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Or Abominable Putridity is kind of like the archetype slam for me. That isn't.
That is when slam started being a genre.
Like template, exactly. I guess you could say. That's where I think. Well, one also. I mean, was it the second Abominable Putridity album? Anomalies of Artificial Origin. I think that was like that set like the template for the clean sort of production that a lot of slam nowadays takes on. And I don't know. That's kind of where it started to lose me. I'm like, well, it's slam, but like, where's the grime? I'm missing the grime.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's like a turning point for sure. Yeah. And I know a lot of people that fucking love that album.
Hugely popular for sure.
And don't really even follow any of the stuff after it, but they don't mind the production on it. They really appreciated it for whatever. And I do too. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I like that stuff. You remember Lille probably Catalepsy? We played a bunch of shows with them in Russia. I dig these guys live, especially. And they have that little bit, 8-string guitar, deathcore slam element to them. But they bring it live. They bring the energy, and they have some fun parts and fun riffs, and so I can definitely appreciate that. I've never seen Abominable live. I don't know if they even play live, but
Maddie has like AP as his own project, and
he did see them
out of band
now live at Las Vegas.
That's
they did Vegas.
Yeah,
I forgot about that. I was thinking like in Russia, like back in the day. I didn't, but you're right. The AP.
It's not technically Abominable Putridity, but it's the music. But that was enjoyable.
Well,
I will say I enjoyed
it.
that show for me ruled, just basically because they're all sick musicians playing that stuff, and I mean Maddie Wade live,
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't go wrong, of course. And I mean, best choice vocalist there, and they know why they did that.
I'll take watching Maddie live any opportunity I can get. I almost don't even care what band it is.
Yeah.
We'll try to bring him out with
Shout out
Nirvana
Maddie.
again. Yeah.
Yes.
It's on the table. Yeah.
I remember when I saw Disgorge back in the Sheila Gutted, like the Bloodletting one, and he just opened the set with the whole like vocal intro.
Oh fuck yeah!
I was like 17. I was just like, holy crap!
That's sick. I would love to see that.
That's so good.
Oh, man. There's no amount of money too large that I wouldn't pay in the era of Disgorge live.
Oh fuck yeah,
yeah.
dude! You go back and watch some of those old videos, dude.
Oh, classic.
Fuck! I wish I was like 5 years older, dude.
Yeah.
Just come across it 5 years earlier, and then I would have been all up in it, dude.
Yep.
I wish I could have seen Death, man. That would have been really cool.
Oh yeah.
I've seen Death in 1993.
Yeah. Fuck you.
Really? Damn. Badass. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
no.
What tour was that? Human? Was that Human?
Individual Thought Patterns.
Okay, yeah.
Fuck.
Damn.
Dean
Craig
Hovland.
Lochichero on the second guitar. Already one of my favorite guitarists, and then he's in Death. I was 11.
It was
And
not Lille Rock.
Nope, not Andy LaRock. It was Craig Lochichero.
Huh.
Forbidden guitarist.
Yeah. Sick.
And that was Steve DiGiorgio, right? Too,
Yes.
on bass.
Yeah.
Cali Death represent.
Yep.
Antioch, California.
True. Twice. Forbidden and Sadus.
True. They probably knew each other before. Maybe that's how he got into the band.
I think that's what Chuck came out to California. I think Death did 4 demos, then he came out to California and was hanging with those dudes in
Autopsy guys, yeah.
in Mass. Was it? Yeah, Autopsy and then Sadus, and that's how they came across Steve. Then they did that 5th demo, and then that's what got him signed to Combat. So that 5th demo was recorded in California, people. Yeah, it's Florida, but
Yeah.
what got him?
I wanted to actually talk about that because California Death is basically Death. It's you could say it's like the beginning was in California too, and it's like it's that mutilation demo you're talking about. I love that thing.
Fuck yeah!
It's like Chuck's first. It's like that gives me goosebumps every time. It's like that riff down, 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 down.
Yeah, dude.
First
So
time
good.
you heard that.
Sick.
Well,
Can
shit,
I-
dude. Where are
can
we
I-
at? We're at one. I don't know. We're probably just over 2 hours or something right now.
We're like 2:15, yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm here. I'm here for you guys. I'm just checking in.
Yeah, just let us know. When you guys want to,
I'm here for the long haul, dude. So it's all good.
I wanted this is a question I've been wanting to ask because I've been listening to your guys' other interviews, and you're always flexing like how much you're influenced by jazz and very technical bands and stuff. And it's just kind of like always this assumption like, oh yeah, but then we love like Sick Fuck and fucking, all these other projects that are like much more simple and like Caveman, or like, I don't know, I kind of like this IQ lowering like term people are throwing around. So like, why do people like us who like, all this Mahavishnu stuff, like, why are we still attracted to this like IQ lowering music? Like,
I think you go ahead.
Because we want to flip some tables, man.
Fuck yeah, dude. That's basically, in other words, what I was gonna say.
Yep.
There's the energy level that just only comes with death metal. That's what got us all started in this.
Or it probably keeps us from flipping tables. That's what it is, dude. If we didn't have it, we'd be flipping tables all over the place. But since we have it, we got the mental table
It's an
flipping.
opiate of the masses. Yeah.
Almost like the as above, so below.
Yep.
You like the, we love and appreciate like technical music and really, really high level of musicianship. And so we also have to enjoy very low level of musicianship. One and the same, you know what I mean?
Well, I mean, it's evolution. We still have caveman blood, so it's like it's pertaining to that ancient part of us is just like beating shit, making rhythmic noises, and fucking throwing shit around. And
of course,
gotta be that primal sense, because what else? I don't know what else makes death metal attractive to us. It's just that feeling you get. That's probably in like the really primal part of your brain. Just wanna.
It's a therapy.
Yeah.
It's not talk therapy, but it's a therapy in a sense that it somehow relieves pressure. It relieves some kind of tension, at least in the moment, when you're experiencing it.
Yeah, I had actually talked about this in an interview I did with somebody recently. I can't remember what interview it was, but I had mentioned that death metal is actually extremely therapeutic in I mean, of course, in a listening sense, listening to your favorite records and stuff like that. But I went beyond to say that death metal, I personally believe that death metal isn't a genre of music that the confines of a recording can actually hold. You have to experience it live, because there's an energy between the band and there's an energy between the fan who is enjoying, the audience there's an interplay between the two, right?
And it's between the stage and the audience. It's between the people in the audience.
Yeah, there's an energy and there's a bond between the fans and the band that, the band gives something to the audience, obviously, where they're playing the music, and the response of the audience fuels us to continue to deliver to them. You know what I mean?
Dude,
it's a symbiotic relationship.
Absolutely.
Totally. It's a giving and taking. And you guys probably all know this when you're, when you have a really shitty crowd and maybe other circumstances are not right, but the crowd's not giving you the response. It's hard to not be demoralized just a little bit. On the flip side, you can have a shitty day. I don't know, maybe you were in fucking traffic all day. You show up demoralized and you get on stage and the crowd is cheering you on and you play the best show of the tour that day just because the energy is there. And it really helps you carry you through the show.
I found pleasure in playing shows with because we do these, Decrepit was doing these bigger tours with more of the core bands sometimes, where we play these, meet up at a big core festival where it's Born of Osiris, Whitechapel, all these, all of our friends. But to get the stare from the crowd, and that actually I would actually get this energy from it. I'm gonna fucking fuck these guys. I'm gonna fucking brutalize them. I don't give a shit.
Well, that's what I was gonna add to. I was like, so that shows I don't know. There's levels that you get as a band. I'm not going to say professional or amateur. I'm not going to say any of that shit. I'm just saying you get to a certain level where you get to that show, Jacob, and you're not feeling the crowd. But the musician who is truly in it for being up there on stage is going to try during that set to change the attitude of the audience. Whether or not the attitude is actually changed at the end of the set, it's the musician who tries to change that attitude the whole time. And you're still victorious at the end, even if you didn't, because you stayed in it and you did what you were supposed to do,
Those are some of the best shows too, when you turn it around, when you start and the audience is not giving you the time of day, and then at the end they're all cheering and wanting more. Those are of course the very best shows. And even if that doesn't happen, you'll still play a show and have an okay time, but it's still there's shows where you're doing, you're being a professional and you're playing the show and it's fine. And then there's shows that you really you truly enjoy and you don't have to put your face on. No, you're actually this is the shit that you live for, and that usually comes with a great audience.
And that usually will be your best merch days too. When you switch a bunch of people over, you'll look over the merch table and your fucking shit's flying off the shelves because everyone's like, "Fuck yeah!"
Some of the most exciting shows to me are the shows where we're almost we're coming in almost like an underdog, and we know it. We know based off the bill, the other bands playing that, okay, we know like probably 70% of the people in this crowd have no fucking idea who we are. And that's motivating to like
Exactly.
really bring and try to represent ourselves as the best version of ourselves we can bring that day or to that
Dude.
performance, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely
Exactly.
motivating to
You
know.
sound like a spiritual teacher right there. Like, it really is like that.
We are what we are.
Be your own, be true to yourself on stage, and it doesn't matter who's watching you.
We are true to ourselves. We have this inside joke always with that the Headbanger's Journey, that
Oh, yeah.
that interview
shit.
with Necro Butcher.
Oh god,
we
the
always-
mayhem shit. Yeah.
At least once a week we're like making reference to that.
So fuck you, man. Fuck you.
People don't like it. Fuck them.
Germany sucks.
I have a comment. Fuck you.
Yeah, we could literally make the whole remainder of this show about this interview.
And the best part too, the best part is that he felt terrible about it, and then like ended up inviting him over because he ended up seeing like, oh shit, made me look like a fucking asshole. And he brought like the interviewer from Banger, that guy with the long hair, brought him over to his house, and they did like a follow up where he's all nice and oh yeah. Sorry.
I think I think Necro Butcher is probably a really nice guy.
Yeah,
As
he was
just
hammered
from
in
the
that
thing-
though.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God.
Alcohol can do fucking weird things, dude.
He had this hate in his eyes though in that interview. He was just pissed. Like his eyes were just like bulging. He's like, "Fuck you!" Like it's like, is he gonna fight the interviewer right now?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Shit, classic. Fuck
Good
yeah.
classic.
As we move towards like winding down, because we're getting up there, we've talked about Cynic and Focus, and I wanted to make sure we carve out a little time to talk about the Seans, Reinhardt and Malone in particular, because I've heard you guys talk about them. I'm sure that they were like, the biggest influences on you as much as they were on the biggest influences for me for like a death metal rhythm section, who just completely changed what that even meant to be like
The
to play
greatest.
death metal. So yeah, can you talk a little on like the ways that those guys have influenced you and like pay tribute? I mean, obviously you've paid musical tribute, so you listen to the music, that's like a lot, but I want to hear like a little more in words, so.
There's a lot. You go.
It's just, when it's about Sean Reinhardt, I gotta start talking. I don't know, man. It was like I actually knew like Billy Cobham and Jack DeJohnette and Tony Williams and all these guys before I, like, as a child, my dad would show me all these guys, and then I got into metal, Megadeth and Slayer and whatever. And then I don't know, a few years later, it's like I just buy this, I rented that a Human CD and put it on tape, and then I listened to that, and it's like, it's both of these things kind of combined, and it just like blew both of our minds, my dad's and I, and it's like he's I don't know, single-handedly introduced a new philosophy into metal drumming, and I think no one really truly picked it up like in a legitimate kind of way. I think maybe a few did, Thomas Hake from Meshuggah, like I think he was probably inspired by Sean Reinhardt.
Mm-hmm.
Just but there's just so little players that actually get that kind of like fluidity, and I think he's actually bringing, it looks like he's really just improvising over those death songs, and it's like I feel like that's really like untapped territory still, because most people are very rigid in what they're playing. They're playing the same thing every night, it's like to me that was absolutely mind-blowing and revolutionary to me.
Yeah, to me as well. I mean, I'm not a drummer, but Sean Reiner is fucking god. That's clear. And Sean Malone, I mean, I loved both Cynic and Gordian Knot, the stuff. And he's done some solo stuff as well. That Cortland album.
Yeah, I love that one. I really do love that
too.
one. Sean's on drums on that, and Reinert's on drums there too. Yeah, so it's just, they just can't be separated.
Without vocals. And I remember I discovered that. So before I knew Focus, I knew that Roadrunner demo, the 3-track demo. I actually don't know. Maybe it was Marcus who gave it to me. Lille would know who Marcus is, of course, but somebody gave me that demo, and I was not familiar with Cynic at all. And it was like a whole world, open up, like that moment where like, holy shit, that bass solo in Eagle Nature, I think, and just like fucking
earlier version of Eurobonic Form.
It was basically like death with jazz, with more, it was like, it was fucking perfect. And I remember I was even disappointed when I heard Focus, because it took me a while to warm up with the vocals. Probably, a lot of people felt the same way. And for me, it was like, damn, I just wish the vocals were like they were on the demo. And I was a little bit of that guy for a moment, but then I just fully embraced it. And unfortunately, a little bit of the wildness was gone from the demo, but hey, there was still that magic happening in the rhythm section. And again, on that Cortland album and Gordian Knot, Sean Reiner played on like one song, I think, on the second album on Emergent. 1 or 2 songs, I can't remember, he played on. So they did have these collaborations later, and I was shocked when I heard the news.
Jarzenbeck's on that first one too. He's on a few tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could definitely tell the songs that he's playing in, because he shines with his style, right?
Yeah.
Even in the clean, more chill stuff, he's still fucking playing in his style.
Those are like some of my favorite solos of his. They're like really soulful.
I think it's Reflections or something is my favorite song.
Like Rivers Dancing or something is another one. It's like
so good, dude.
Yeah, dude, this.
Man, So anyway, it was really, really shocking to not just have one, but both of them die in 1 year. That was and they were paving the way for basically what we're doing. We wouldn't be doing this without them.
And Neil Peart too, all in the same kind of all in the same kind of.
Neil is a fucking hero, and I was so devastated when he died. I felt just genuinely sad for days.
I was actually visiting Casey when Neil passed, and we found out while we were eating tacos. We got like the text about it, and we went to go see. I don't know if Casey. There was 2 nights that Tool played, and my buddy's Wayne at Tool. He's his first birthday. We wanted to go, check out Tool in San Diego, and it was the night Tool was playing that Neil passed, and so Danny Carey did like a tribute to him on the drums and stuff, and had a picture of them like holding arm in arm and stuff, and just fucking everyone's all fucking sad, and it was sad. It was heavy, man. It was probably one of the heaviest. Like drum solos.
This character as well. I mean, his drumming, but also just the guy is like the fucking nicest, most down-to-earth dude ever, and it's just so sad. He lost his wife and daughter, and then
he's got a fucking gnarly story, dude.
He just took off on a motorcycle around, just bailed for like years, right?
Didn't he do like 50,000 miles in a year or something?
Something like that.
Yeah,
across North America, pretty much.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
I remember when you we were at that restaurant. You like had your phone. You're like, oh shit, and you like read the news and told us, and I was like, And then I came.
We were all in
you. Yeah, and I came
super
to visit.
Happy.
Like a couple of weeks later, and then we got.
Then Sean.
And I was.
It was like weeks later. Yeah, it's crazy.
Super happy to have seen them. Has anybody seen Rush live?
I've seen them a few times.
I have.
Rush.
I've seen them on their last European tour before they retired, basically.
Oh wow!
I got lucky.
I saw him on the Snakes and Arrows tour, which is it's a whatever album. But I mean, you go to a Rush show, you're gonna get 2.5 hours of fucking Rush.
Yeah.
And it was a fucking experience like no other, dude.
I got to see him play Moving Pictures all the way through. That was pretty fucking awesome. Yeah, the Time Machine tour.
They were rotisserie chickens and like
yeah,
commercial sized fucking rotisseries, and dudes would even come out and like baste the chickens while they're playing and shit.
Awesome. Like I don't get the joke, but it's funny.
Well, the joke, it's not. I don't know. I mean, it's a joke, but I think they actually served that to the crew after the show.
Oh shit!
Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, those chickens are real and they're really for the
They're not-
fucking crew.
They're not prop chickens.
That's got to be a requirement if I ever go on tour again. I want
Rotisserie chicken
cooked
every
on stage
night.
for me every night. Yeah,
Just the food that everyone's gonna eat at the end of the night being cooked in the background while you're playing.
yeah.
Yeah. Did you guys go to that like Death to All show? I saw it in San Francisco.
Yeah, we were there together, dude.
Right. And
we saw him in Berlin.
you saw it in Berlin? Yeah.
Mhm.
God,
Lille and I, yeah.
yeah.
That's what sold me on Max.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The whole thing totally convinced me, and I've
Yeah.
there's been many haters about that, but I don't care, man. It's a bunch of high class musicians playing amazing songs, and
Yeah.
partly it's the people that played with him, and Max did a fucking amazing job.
Yeah.
So
I was like 10 feet away from Sean, just watching him because he's sideways, and so I was just like, just the whole time, like didn't look anywhere else. I mean, I was watching Paul.
Was Hoagland for us.
Yeah. Oh, we
Yeah.
had both. Oh, you
Oh.
guys had only one German.
We only had Hoagland, yeah.
Oh yeah, it was Hoagland and Sean, and they switched off.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jesus.
It was at
Yeah.
the Grand Ballroom in San Francisco, the Regency.
John, I think Sean's leg was kind of injured. And
Was
he
it?
I knew he was hurting, but he still played the set, and he has this
Yeah.
second pedal on the outside of his hi-hats,
Right.
his style.
That's how he puts the pedals.
Yeah, and I remember just getting to see all that real close too. Yeah.
Such
Fuck yeah.
legend. Yeah.
I mean, the Malone Reinhardt, even in the later Cynic stuff, they kind of shed some metal fans along the way, but their rhythmic tightness is there. And on the Kindly Ben album, every fill that Sean does, Sean follows it to a T. It's
Mhm.
it's so fun to listen to. Once you realize that that's the thing to pay attention to, all those albums just click, and it's so cool.
I can totally get down with the rhythm section on Trace and Air and after.
Yeah, I love that
Again,
one.
it turned me off a little bit because the vocals are just not my cup of tea. But the rhythm section I can still totally dig.
Mhm.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, man, when Sean Malone died, that was a sad night for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that Jacob, you're carrying the torch right now, and super stoked that you wrote a lot of the Dharmata stuff. Are you contributing more to the newer Dharmata? Do you guys want to talk about what Dharmata is turning into now?
Dharmata back then was an idea that Lille and I pretty much had together because we both just love that style, and that's why it was just like a playground where you could be like, wow, now I can do this, or we can try a groove like that, like things that were just impossible, even as progressive or whatever as Defeated Sanity may be. That just was out of the question that we could do any of that stuff. So that was amazing, and that enabled me to bring in a few ideas of mine that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to bring in.
Yeah.
We
Normally-
jammed.
normally denied.
Yeah, another would be like, nah, I mean, I understand, it's your baby, it's got your handwriting all over it, so it's hard to fit my brain is wired a little differently, so to fit that in there. And anyway, with Dharmata, I had then the ability to bring in a lot of that stuff. Plus, it was fortunately when we were still living in the same city, so we were playing a lot together in the room and jamming these things. So that's also a reason why back then I was just having that rhythm section, just like with the two Seans, I guess, really builds up music like that, from the ground. And anyway, yeah, I mean, if you want to talk about stuff right now, Lille is cooking some Dharmata stuff. And I just sent you a few parts that you said we were going to use. So hopefully they'll get tied in, and there's going to be something. Who knows, 2024. We'll see.
I don't know. It's I just demoed like 2 songs along to Guitar Pro files, because that's what I do. I play drums to Guitar Pro files, and I don't know. It's on the one side, it's very there's a lot of actual I want long jazz kind of guitar solos. So there's a lot of these mellow kind of sections, but then on the other hand, should kind of reminds me of Sepultura, like like really fast, like thrashy riffing and stuff. And I know a lot like a little bit of like forbidden kind of like, it's very deep sounding, like I know a lot of the things that really impress me with the music of Mahavishnu or Sonic is just like the deep, like the it's like, I guess it has a little bit of the Buddhist kind of thing, like the things that we can't really fathom or whatever, so like that's a little bit what it sounds like. And yeah, it's just what Jacob just said. It's Defeated Sanity is just emotionless, like the album is just about animals. Sanguinary Impetus is just about animals carelessly devouring other animals and stuff, like it's about that kind of stuff. And the music is just, there's no room for any like other emotion than like this hatred, like death metal,
We wanted this new album to be cold and just emotionless and kind of a little sterile in a way. Yeah, which is the opposite of what we're trying to do with Dharmata.
Exactly. So I guess Dharmata is very soulful. It's not only about technicality, it's a lot about soulfulness for me. Like I want like really to Death Human is the same. It's like there's a vibe in it, it's really deep, really dark, and beautiful, it's, to me, that's what that music, the big fascination is about. And it's like I think death metal is not just about like the table flipping thing, but there's also like the scales that are used, they just speak to me, like. And with that Human album, it's just very apparent, like you can really hear what he's using there. It's like, it's, to me, it's like very like spiritual even, and I guess that's what's the big highlight for the new Dharmata stuff.
There's gonna be something coming. Might be another 2 years, but there's gonna be something.
Fuck yeah.
I'll be purchasing when it comes.
Thank you, sir.
Cool, guys. Can I close us out by asking the last fan question?
I was gonna say one thing real fast.
Yeah, sure.
Where can people buy merch and support Defeated Sanity? And I know you showed the website for Lily, but like, what's your main?
I'm gonna take that. So there's not, well, there is a main. I would think it's the Big Cartel. There's a link on our Facebook to it, and that one is entirely operated by us. So whatever you order there is gonna either come from Germany via Lille or from the United States via Josh or me. So that's all us. And then there's Bandcamp, which is mainly Willowtip run, but except for the older releases. So if you were to purchase Psalms, Prelude, or okay, that's the Big Cartel right there.
Is that hand sanitizer?
That is hand sanitizer.
Oh no, I have it. I have that shit.
That's so cool.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that and I was cracking up and I immediately ordered it.
Dude, there's still some left.
Man,
Anybody needs to sanitize.
Dude, I'm gonna order a shirt and some stuff, dude.
Fuck yeah.
I want that
you guys
long
got-
one right there. That one's cool on the
I
left.
want that patch and I want that hand sanitizer, dude.
All right,
Dude, hell yeah.
That's left, so you better be
I think
quick.
it's sick.
Also,
It's sold out.
there's an update. Oh yeah, that's a tap book. That's right. The tap.
Oh, the patch is
cool.
sold out. Shit.
There's another. No, there's like 2 or 3 more patches.
He's got to save one for me, please.
And then there's the other tab book down there. I should rearrange that to the side by side. Anyhow,
Oh, way cool. Yeah.
I put patches on the side of my sandals, dude. Fuck
yeah.
leather jackets, dude.
I
It's
like
all on the side of the
I like
sandals.
that.
dude.
That's a cool flyer.
So watch out though, because there's gonna be a new piece of merch coming that we just had made, like a new design that we had made for the song Suti, fitting the lyrics of the song Suti from Disposal of the Dead.
Fuck yeah.
So basically, I'm just in the process of getting that wrapped up, and that will be updated in the store soon, hopefully. And then to conclude, so there's Big Cartel, which is mainly run by Willowtip. Still helps us, if you want support the label. Supporting the label supports us, so in a way, that's still a good thing to do. And then there's indie merch where you can buy, which also we get a cut from, so that's also supporting us. And yeah, those are basically the 3 options. And then every once in a while, we'll have a license to like Brutal Mind Indonesia or something where you can buy stuff, and we usually get compensated for that.
What was the link to that website again that you just showed us?
Oh, that's the Big Cartel.
Yeah.
Big Cartel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's through the Facebook.
Oh,
Yeah,
I think it's on Facebook.
you should be able to get there, and it will be updated soon with a new T-shirt as well. So
cool.
stay tuned.
Fuck yeah.
Fuck yeah.
My bandmate bought the tab book and is about to drop some videos playing Sanguinary shit, and
Oh, nice.
he fucking nailed it. I'm really stoked. Stoked to be playing with this guy, and you guys will see it, I'm sure. So I'm sure he's one of a few guys going at it right now. But yeah, really impressed so far.
Yeah, we had pretty good response to that tab book. Like just judging by the number of people who downloaded it and showed interest, there's a lot of players out there who are probably jamming that stuff right now.
Fuck yeah.
And I bought the disposal, or no, I guess it's just Dharmata. I bought the Dharmata tab book at that show when you just sold it with the little download codes.
Oh yeah, little download code.
I got one of those. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
But yeah, so just last question from a fan. Just wants to know what your guys' favorite albums are, and he says it doesn't have to be metal. So pretty fucking wide open question. Just chance to talk about your favorite albums.
It's always a hard one.
and we'll be on here for another hour. So
I mean, I could throw like 10 out there right now. It's I don't know,
10 or whatever.
It's impossible because I would probably say 10, and then after that I would be like, oh wait, but what about that one? Oh no,
Yeah.
Forgot about that one.
Just 10 randoms.
To me, I don't know.
No, go. I wouldn't say 10, maybe 3, since we got 3, 3 each or whatever.
I would say Gorguts. I mean, see, I can't even like now. I'm thinking 3. Then do I want Gorguts in there? I do, but then there's so many others.
Yeah.
So that Consider Dead would be up top when it comes to death metal. I still worship Suffocation, the old stuff. So I can't even pick one. It's like Breeding the Spawn, Pierce from Within. It's impossible.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe one album I can clearly put in the top 3 would probably be Controlled Resistance, just because it's so unique.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just one of its kind to me. So that one would probably have to be in there. And
Watchtower, Control and Resistance.
Yep.
But I mean, I know Josh's gonna say Tomb of the Mutilated, so I don't have to say that.
Yeah.
I know there's too many. That's just too many.
Yeah, that's a tough question, man.
Josh, you go next.
Oh, that's so loaded because for all the genres of music that we all listen to narrow down 3, it's not even fair, bro.
And
Honestly,
I didn't say 3. Just saying.
Oh, I said 3. My bad.
it's good to stick within the confines of something because this should just go on until next week sometime.
We'll just do one.
Yeah.
No.
We'll be back next week. Just an entire episode on your favorite album.
But I mean, I'll say, of course, Tomb of the Mutilated is to me like the pinnacle of all death metal. It all goes back to Tomb of the Mutilated in some way or another. And I'm actually a really big Opeth fan. My Arms Your Hearse by Opeth is one of my favorite albums, probably in my top 3 favorite albums. Oh man, what else? I Consume the Forsaken from Disgorge.
Fuck, I wanted to say that.
It's like my weekly listen, you know.
If you wanted to add a Consume song to the TVV set list, we already do the first 2 songs. We do Demise of the Trinity, and we just added what's the second song on that album called?
Perverse Man.
We do that one, and we do the title track. If you could pick another song on the set list, we want to add Divine Suffering.
Consecrating Be Reviled.
Yes,
That's
a great one.
I'll work
Doesn't
on
get enough
Consecrating.
it's a pretty short one too, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Short but vicious, crazy.
Yeah.
To me, that's basically a Schoenberg in death metal. That's what that song is.
Yeah.
Anton Schoenberg, yeah.
That's an amazing song. Doesn't get enough love.
All right,
So that one, put that one in.
I'm actually gonna go chill and jam with Diego. Hopefully this coming week. Maybe we'll wait till next week.
All right.
Try to be
Hello to
super
Diego
safe
from us.
about it. Yeah. Well, I mean, what's up,
Take some
Diego?
footage
If you're
for us.
listening,
Shout
we're
out,
working
Diego.
we're working on manipulation
Oh, nice.
and indulging. So those are the other two we're
Just
gonna add.
play Consumer Bacon top to bottom.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude.
Just do it.
That's
Everybody wants it. Just do it.
If I mean, I just need people to tell me to get stoked on it, and I'll get stoked on it
Yo,
because
do Enthroned Abominations, please, because I do love that song still. Sick.
Yeah.
dude, the last TVV drummer, well, not the last one, but Scott, the first one, he has a video of doing that one, and I'm like impressed with him, and I'm like scared to try to do it too, but I'll fucking go for it too, man. Why not?
That's
Got it, dude.
It's what I need to hear. Yeah.
Hell
Heck
yeah.
So what we're pretty much good right now, huh?
Lily's
I
got
so.
it.
Oh yeah.
got
Oh, sorry,
some-
dude. Sorry, Lily. What's your
What?
tops? What's your tops? Your couple albums, yeah.
Oh yeah. Wait. Yeah. These guys put me in a bad situation now. I'm like running out of.
There's still so many though.
Huh?
There's still so many that you
Yeah.
could,
I hate
I
the
guess-
position you guys are in. I can't do what you
I
guys
couldn't
are
do
doing
it.
right now. On
So-
the spot, you would have to give me like a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So since the other guys covered like a lot of the. Damn it. So. So I gotta say, just Mozart, the Requiem, I guess.
I guess you can consider that an album.
I would put that in mind too.
It's just insane. So and one of my other favorite classical pieces is the Turangalila Symphony from Messiaen, which is
yeah.
absolutely insane to me. So yeah, we haven't even talked about classical music a lot.
We could go off on
Next
it.
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, part 2.
So
Yeah, come back, guys. Yeah.
the third one, I'm just gonna say Spastic Inc. Incomplete.
Nice. Fuck
Nice.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Good one.
Yeah.
That's a good send off.
Yeah, dude.
Hell yeah.
Well, cool guys. This was fucking great. I mean, we're creeping up on 3 hours now. This is fucking awesome. And we're still at a point where I know we can do a part 2 if you guys are down. We'll have you
Yeah.
guys back.
We gotta give
Well,
somebody
sure.
else a chance first, but maybe later on.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
most
yeah,
definitely.
for
But yeah,
sure.
we'll work it back in a little bit, no doubt. We'll check in with you guys for sure because this was awesome, dude.
Thank you. Thanks.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. Thanks for coming. Yeah.
I really had
Yeah.
fun today.
yeah.
I enjoyed our time together, and so yeah, Cali Death Podcast episode 11 in the bags. You guys got the information on how you can get some Defeated Sanity merch and go support them. As far as the podcast, Facebook, Instagram, Joseph just started a blog actually. If you want to drop that link, Joseph,
Yeah, dude.
or is it even up yet?
It's I can pretty much put it up. I just have to buy the better URL.
Okay.
Basically,
So,
yeah, I'm ready to.
We'll come back with that info then.
We're launching the Cali Death blog, so that'll be part of an announcement online and everything. So
Okay.
you'll see that all. Yeah.
Sorry, I jumped it a little early. My
No,
bad.
you're good, dude.
All right, cool. But yeah, so and obviously to get Lille on this, we had to do a special Sunday morning West Pacific Standard Time podcast. So we'll be back at the normal time on Thursdays again, right, guys? 8:00. We're gonna start doing it again, and yeah, we got some options ahead. Like I said, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube channel. Subscribe and like all that shit. Come be a part of the party. And yeah, you guys stick around just for a couple more minutes. We'll say our goodbyes, and you guys keep supporting underground fucking metal. We'll see you next Thursday.